The 93X Half-Ass Morning Show podcast is sponsored by Standard Heating and Air Conditioning.
Standard Heating and Air Conditioning is currently hiring experienced and entry-level HVAC technicians. Apply today at standardheating.com.
The 93X Half-Ass Morning Show. 93.
Today is National Taco Day.
Every rule-following citizen gets a free taco and my love.
Tacos, Ashley. Tacos.
Fast food chain Taco Bell announced that it will add breakfast tacos to its menu for the first time. Finally, some good news for people who wake up still drunk.
I was thinking tacos and nachos.
Well, that sounds good to me. What do you think, Peter?
I just arrived in my pants.
This is great. Andy got us tacos. The only problem is, whenever I try to make a taco, I get too excited and I crush it.
Let's go get some tacos!
Awkward.
I'm buying.
It's showtime.
Well, isn't that a hell of a deal? Taco Day. I have a question for you right from the get-go here, Cubby. By the way, welcome to our radio program here, the 93X Half-Ass Morning Show. My question for you, Josh, here on Taco Day 20 plus 23. Who was the prick who upped and invented fish tacos?
I've never had a fish taco, but boy, those were, there's certain foods that become a trend, like PBR and bacon, right? Those were a trend. Everybody talked about it. Fish tacos for a while were that. For whatever reason, those got super popular. What kind of fish is in a fish taco?
That's a good question. I've had shrimp tacos. I can't think of a fish taco I've had, though.
I'm not a big...
Cod?
Pardon me?
Cod?
Yeah, that's what they put in fish sticks, right? Do you like fish sticks, by the way?
Oh, I love fish sticks. Absolutely love them.
You've had a fish taco, Nick?
Wapple. Come on, man. Let's go. Isn't that the saying from the young people? Let's go. Have I had a fish taco? Yeah.
A very good friend of mine lives in California, and I visited her several times, and that was a big thing out there. Everybody always wanted to go for fish tacos.
Fish belongs on a paper plate.
I've had salmon tacos. Those
should
are
be
very
battered.
good.
Not in a taco. What do you call it? Taco shell. What happened? You had a what?
I've had salmon tacos. Those are really good. But I like salmon.
Tacos?
Anything. You put salmon on anything. Yum.
Fish belongs on a paper.
Breakfast cereal. Would you put salmon on breakfast cereal?
Would you put salmon in your lasagna?
With milk. Oh, maybe lasagna.
You put it on a paper plate for shore lunch, and you eat your fish off of that paper plate while wondering, how are we going to get the boat back to the resort with Dad being so drunk? That's the perfect setting for fish, not in a taco, tortilla, whatever you call it.
Mahi is what people are saying are in fish tacos.
Tilapia.
Tilapia, sure.
Oh, yeah, I've heard that word before.
Tilapia?
Yep.
I've seen those at Costco. I'm an executive member.
Right, you always got to rub that in. I drove by the Egan Costco the other day, and I was just seething with jealousy of your wealth and your status, Josh.
Yeah.
I was like,
I hear you.
He's probably in there right now, just saying hey to everybody, all the other elite members of the Egan Costco, and I was just like, man, what's it like to be on the other side of things?
Well, you would know. We have our own entrance. We have a private entrance. You're not allowed to go in.
I'll tell you what a completely unnecessary move that was, fish tacos. But between Taco Day and that Twins win yesterday, I don't know, I'm pretty pumped.
That was pretty fun.
That was great. And Wapple and I were texting a little bit about it yesterday. Got off to a pretty good start. I was a little nervous. I thought, is this too good to be true?
Yeah.
But that was awesome yesterday.
Royce Lewis, huh?
What a stud.
Have they built the statue yet? Is it full? Is it done? I'm pretty sure they must have started it yesterday after the game.
They at least have to carve one out of butter at the state fair.
Yeah, exactly.
That kid gets ass. It's funny you mentioned...
Good-looking guy, too. I could see that.
Funny you mentioned a statue. I got a funny text message right from the get-go from a listener. Says, I've got two questions. When's the parade? And when are we retiring Royce Lewis's jersey?
Hey, let me ask you. So I was putting together the intros for our sports segments, and, and obviously it's Twins related. And in one of them I had put Queen, We Are the Champions, after the last call of the game. And then I thought, maybe that's a bad idea. We just won one game. I mean, I understand the significance of it. We snapped the streak. Everybody's nervous. Are we going to make it 19 playoff losses in a row? So I pulled it. I did not use. I thought
Good
maybe I
call.
should save it for a future series.
Maybe you don't go with the We
Like
Are
the
the
World
Champions.
Series.
Yeah. No, it was a good call. I mean, there's plenty of other inspirational tunes I'm sure you could slap in there, but yeah, maybe We Are the Champions is a little too much for
I kind
now.
of thought I might get some texts like, "Hey, ease it back there, dork."
It sure felt like a championship.
I know
though.
it
really did.
Yeah.
I was calling my dad. Like, it was just unbelievable.
Wapple and I are crying over the phone.
Oh, God, I could give you a list of songs. I'm sure you've already found a replacement song for your Twins
I
highlights.
just went with the generic one for now.
Because I remember, going back to 1987, I remember, everything about that American League Championship Series and World Series. And I was even the dork that went out and bought all the highlight VHS tapes.
Oh, yeah, we had those.
And you'd watch them over and over and over again. Or even local news channels. I think Randy Shaver over there at KARE 11 even put together a montage of all the highlights from that playoff series and the World Series and put them to music. And I remember some of the songs that were in there. It's 1987, so you got to remember. But one of the songs that was in there, Jefferson Starship.
Yep.
And we can build this dream together.
Yep.
Standing strong forever. Take it, Cubby.
Something.
That's
now.
right.
Something now.
Nothing's going
Gonna stop us.
And of course,
now.
we Go Crazy by Prince. What was that song ago? What was that song?
Let's Go Crazy.
Let's Go Crazy.
Every time the Wild would score a goal, I think they still do.
They
the
used that one for a while, yeah.
Yeah, the Vikings, they play that, right?
What the hell else was in that 87 highlight as far as songs go? God dang it. We Go Crazy. Nothing's going to stop us now. I'll get back to
I
you.
did think about playing One Shining Moment. I thought maybe I could, but then I thought that might be a little too much, too.
One Shining Moment?
That you'd know it if you heard it.
Is that an old Whitney Houston song or something?
Let me see who does that.
No,
song.
she sang
It's Luther
something.
Vandross. It's something they play during the Final Four every year.
Oh, the Final Four basketball
they
song.
play it with sports quite a bit. Yeah.
What was the Whitney Houston Olympics song? Oh, One Shining Moment in Time of All Time in the history. Was that the name of the song?
Yeah, I think you got it.
God
You nailed
dang it! She sang that. She sang that song that kind of hooked up with the Olympics. You had to be there.
You guys still have your Homer hankies from back in 87 or 91?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I still got those.
Yeah,
some
I got mine from 87.
Wheaties boxes?
Yep.
Yeah, I got the stupid Wheaties box.
I do have a Wheaties box.
Well, they're just getting started. They still got to win another game to.
I wish they
beat
could
the
just wrap it up right now. Let's just keep this feeling going.
Yeah, well, I mean, they can. I mean, just kill them today and move on.
But I wish first pitch was at 5:46 a.m. so we could just get it going right now.
You don't want to wait till 3:38 p.m.?
It's too long to wait.
That crowd was geared up, too, yesterday.
Yeah.
That was geared up and beard up. That was great. Josh, we can keep the feeling going, and the Twins can keep it going for us. Just dust the Blue Jays today. Let's move on and make plans for Houston, and hopefully none of what we're saying right now anyone considers a jinx. We're just being positive here. Go ahead. Knock their D's in the dirt today, and we can all forget about the wild card round and move on to the next round.
When does the next round start?
I would imagine Saturday.
Yeah, that quick, huh?
I'm just taking a guess. I haven't looked that far, but
yeah, I looked at
if the best of three, this is a best of three, and if they play 3 games, they'll play tomorrow. Tomorrow's Thursday, right?
Yes, it is.
And then I imagine they'd give those teams a day off on Friday and start the next round on Saturday. That's just a guess.
Yeah, I'm looking at Saturday.
Some folks are texting in, and yeah, this comes up every time the Twins are in the playoffs. Someone brings up the old Slave Raider Twins song from 1987. Absolutely, where they parodied Dirty Deeds, I think, by AC/DC, or was it...
I think I've got that song.
Was it TNT or Dirty Deeds? I can't remember, but I remember that local rock band, Slave Raider.
Are they still around, Slave Raider?
Well, I don't think as a band.
Not
but,
as a band.
It's been a long time, but I used to run into Chainsaw Kane all the time, the lead singer. And he's one of the friendliest effing guys.
Agreed.
Man,
what a cool name, Chainsaw Kane.
Yeah, he'll kick the living hell out of you still, even after all these years. You don't mess with Chainsaw. But when that came out in 87, every radio station was pumping that sumbitch to fire folks up for the Twins. But Chainsaw and the folks from Slave Raider, they had a hell of a thing.
That was a nice contribution.
Yeah, they had a hell of a thing going there for a while. All right.
You know how you can ruin that good feeling you might have had yesterday? when you realize how dumb a friend of yours thinks you are. And that happened to me yesterday. I'd consider him a friend.
I get that treatment all the time. I can't wait for this.
Do you really?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I got new tires yesterday, and the guy's like, well, what do you think? Do they look pretty good to you? And I'm like, yeah, they look good, but I think you put the back ones on the front and the front ones on the back. And he didn't say anything for, I'd say, 6 seconds, and he looked at me like I'm an idiot and was like, dude, that's not a thing. I'm like,
duh.
Yeah, I know. I was making a dad joke. That's all. I get that you could put them wherever you want, as long as they're at the bottom of the vehicle and attached to the wheels, you're good to go.
That's good.
And I thought, he really thinks I'm that stupid.
Yeah. Man, it hurts a little bit.
It did hurt.
It hurts a little bit.
I love vehicles, and I research them. I know trim level. I can look at most cars and tell you what, the body style, what year it changed, that kind of stuff. But I don't know how they work, right? And I got a lot of gearheads in my family, and they make fun of me about it. I don't fully understand that. So, and I know he knows that about me, but
you understand more than most folks, I think, when it comes to cars.
Well, people who don't know cars, yeah, certainly. But I mean, like, I don't even know if I can say I know cars.
So this friend should know, this friend of yours, he should know that you're not that friggin' dumb when it comes to cars, or anything for that matter.
I think he was like almost pissed at me.
That's not right.
And I'm like, hey man, I was just trying to make a joke.
That is not right.
You think I'm that dumb?
I get that treatment myself.
Do you have any examples?
Tam to tam. Well, not really. Maybe before the day is out, I could come up with one, but right here on the spot,
Dana, you got to have one.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think of an example right off the top of my head, but yeah, no, I mean, my friends all just kind of assume I'm pretty dumb.
What strikes me, and I can understand that, Dana.
Yeah.
What strikes me sometimes is the lack of confidence that some people in my life have in me, and I'll explain, and maybe this will all make sense. Specifically, my dad. I have been here at this effing radio station, sitting in this same stupid chair for how many years? 27, 28 years. Whatever it's been, Josh, right? And when I go see my folks, now, they never, ever, ever ask about what I do. Where my twin brother, they know every single aspect of his everyday. They love to talk about how hard my brother works and how many hours he puts in. They never say a single word about my career, if that's what you want to call it. And that's fine. I just find it kind of interesting. They have no idea, and they don't care. But this is where I'm going with all this. If it ever comes up, like my dad will say, I could use some help up at the cabin next weekend. Can you take a day off? And I'll say, well, yeah, what day do you want me to take off? Take off Friday. And I'll say, fine, I'll take off Friday and I'll see you up there. And he'll say, are you sure that's okay with work? To take a single day off after 28 years? Yeah. He always talks to me as if I'm seconds away from being fired. You know what I mean? Like he doesn't have the confidence that I can keep this job. It's been nearly 30 years.
Yeah.
That's the odd part of it.
It's like I just thought of another one for me. My kids will never ask me for help with homework. Like, it's like, yeah, I don't really understand this problem. I'm like, well, let me sit down. No, I'll wait for mom to get home.
Yeah.
Oh, that hurts.
I'm like, but mom's dumb. Well, why can't I help you out? They never, ever, and I get it with math. I understand. They leave that alone. But yeah, they never want me to help.
It's a hell of a deal.
Hey, by the way,
I would take your help on homework, for God's sake. Oh, I can't even imagine how clueless I would be if I had to help a child with homework.
Do you want me to help your kids with the math?
Are you good at?
He doesn't want you around his kids.
That's good.
Better you than me, Wapple. I bet you could. If you and I took a 5th grade math class, oh man, I don't really want to know how ugly it would turn out, but I bet you'd have a higher grade than I would.
Power Metal Jesus said, back to my friend who put the tires on. He works at a place that does it. He said, I should actually him. Because on big trucks like plows, Power Metal Jesus said, it is a thing. where you have to put him in a specific place.
Okay.
Oh.
Okay.
I'm going to do that. Is it too late to actually him? It's
No.
too late at this
No.
point,
Yeah,
isn't it?
Yeah, it's
Is
too
that
late,
a
Josh.
thing? Is that a bit these days to actually someone?
Oh, well, shoot, we get texts on that. You know how
yeah.
that goes.
Oh, well.
Actually, this,
Then
when you're
they'll-
correcting someone.
They'll
yeah.
tell you what they believe the real truth
Exactly.
is. Oh, okay. I follow.
Josh, that would kind of be like that move where, a couple hours later you come up with the perfect comeback to something that somebody said to you, then you try to go back to them and say it. It's like, the moment has passed.
Yeah. That's
And that's
it.
always the worst feeling, too. And you're like, I should have said that. That would have been great.
Now I kind of want Wapple and I to take a 5th grade level math quiz and see how we turn out.
It's totally different. Like the way they do math, it's so different than the way we learned.
So weird.
Well,
growing
that's
up.
okay. Maybe that's okay to, you know what I mean? Maybe we'll show how out of touch we really are. You tell us, Josh, you've got a son, more importantly, my godson, and he's what, the 6th grader or something like that?
I think so. Again, you'd have to ask his mother, but yeah, go ahead.
And you already said you don't really mess around helping him out with homework.
Well, I try.
Yeah,
They
he doesn't ask you to. How do you think? I mean, you've heard examples of how clueless Wapple and I are with arithmetic. How do you think we would do on such a thing?
I think you'd have trouble. I know I have trouble with the math. Like I said, it's so different.
Really, just even the way the questions are. Don't spoil anything in case we actually want to do this. But so even the way they ask the questions is very different.
Well, the way they have to show their work is completely different.
I was never any good at that.
I was never good at that. Plus, a lot of things have changed probably from when I went to school, even from when Nick went to school.
Well, yeah, there was a little bit of a gap there. Well, I don't know. Maybe we can, just for laughs, maybe we can find a typical cliche, quick 10-question arithmetic quiz. For, I don't know, 6th, 7th grade level.
Well, I can grab one of his.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
That'd be fun.
I'd be happy to. Wapple, see, here's the thing. This is a good point. Someone texted me and mentioned you'd be very good at teaching my kids in grams and ounces, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
You can figure that stuff out.
Yeah, I could do percentages. I got that.
He has an ace on that, too.
Oh, you dominate in percentages.
Maybe then fractions. I could do fractions. Oh, just simple fractions, though.
I'll call my dad today and say, hey, guess what? We're going to take a 6th grade level math quiz on the air. My dad will say, are you sure your boss is cool with that? Hey, is today the day that our lawyer friend Ryan Pacyga joins us in studio?
Yeah, that'll be good to see him.
Haven't seen
I love
Ryan.
having him in.
A criminal defense attorney.
We've known Ryan since he was basically a little kid. He's been a part of this show one way or another for probably since we started. Hey, speaking of Taco Day, he once brought me tacos at a promotion at Audio King. That's how far back we go.
That's so sweet of him.
It was in Woodbury, and I was out. I think it was Woodbury. I forget. It was out that way, and he shows up with his family, and he's like, "Hey, we were in the neighborhood. I brought you Taco Bell." That's the kind of guy he is.
That's unbelievable.
No
Over
one's
there
ever brought me Taco Bell.
No one's ever brought you taco. You were hanging.
He gave you your freedom, Wapple.
Yeah.
What the hell are you complaining about? Yeah, he got you out of an obvious DWI. You were at Audio King.
Yeah.
Well, you must have liked that.
Oh, I loved it.
You liked audio.
I sure do like all those
I could
stores.
see you spend some time at Audio King back in the day when that was a place.
To the
Josh.
point where I could annoy the coworkers. Or the not coworkers.
Yeah.
See, I act as if I worked them. And that's kind of how I'd act. Like, I can help. I'll help somebody
Oh,
over
God, he's back. Will you go talk to him? I'm going to run the back room.
Would you go from there to the Guitar Center?
Dude, that's like my thing. And I told you, with Audio King, back at the one in, I think Edina, I used to hang out there so much that they'd let me help install car stereos.
Dude.
I remember you telling me those
awesome.
stories.
Yeah, and
you were quite obsessed with that gimmick.
Oh, I loved it. And so 2 days, I got 2 days in a row of a lame claim to fame. I helped put a car stereo in John Randall's SUV.
Oh, I bet that was a cool SUV.
It was purple.
Yep.
Yeah, it was pretty awesome.
That's kind of lame, yeah?
Yeah, I said it was lame.
Yeah. Where was I going with this? I had it and I lost it. Oh, Ryan Pacyga. Josh, you remember? Can I tell a Ryan Pacyga story?
It totally appropriate.
Criminal defense attorney Ryan Pacyga coming in studio here later on this morning. Be here around 8:20 or something like that. Josh, you remember the darkest days that you and I have ever known when I was on jury duty?
Oh, yeah.
The dark, dark days of
I'd argue there's some worse ones, but I know that wasn't fun.
Those were pretty dark. I ran into Ryan Pacyga at the courthouse there because, of course, he's a lawyer, and he gave me a hug.
See? He's a good dude.
We ran into each other in the hallway, and he gave me a hug.
You know what's cool about that, how nice he's treated the two of us? He doesn't do the same for the other three, and that's
great.
great.
No, he does not.
I like that about him.
I like that about him, too.
No tacos, no hugs in this room whatsoever.
No, I'm sure he gave Waffle his freedom.
Yeah, I think I'd take that over tacos and a hug any
you're
day.
right. That's probably pretty good.
We should ask him. I'm sure we've asked him before, and I just can't remember. Did he ever dabble in divorce lawyering?
No, but now he has more of a, I don't know, what do they call it? He has more associates he works with.
Firm.
Yeah, like he's got his own firm now. Before it was him, and where it's just criminal defense. So now he kind of branched out to everything. I think he just does the big criminal cases, but he's got other people, like his wife now.
Is that right?
Yeah, I believe she's a lawyer.
I knew
officially.
not.
She worked with him forever, but I think she's a lawyer.
I did not know that.
And may I say, hubba hubba, if you don't mind.
Word. So he could hook you up with a. I was just reading about some of these. We could likely go all day on the topic of divorces and terrible, awful situations that people have gotten themselves involved in. You know, a bad marriage and then a terrible breakup, and we had to get a lawyer, and it took 6 years. You know, we've had these conversations over and over. But people on Reddit were recently talking about bizarre reasons people have gotten divorced, okay? Let me just throw a few of these at you. Maybe these are the reasons why Pacyga has no interest in it.
Some of these are unreal.
It sounds like an absolute nightmare.
Yeah.
You know how there are people who never grow up. They never know how to behave properly. They don't know how to be reasonable in any situation, but specifically when it comes to a breakup, oh my God, it's the end of the world.
I don't know anybody, luckily, personally. Certainly we've heard from listeners, and I feel so bad for some of the things they've had to go through, but I don't know anybody personally who's had a real tough divorce, luckily. I mean, sure, they took it. It was hard
tough.
emotionally,
Yeah.
and when you throw kids in there and stuff like that, it makes it more difficult, but yeah, luckily it's been smooth enough. I mean, Ashley, yours was easy, right? Nick, yours was a breeze.
Yeah.
Yeah, very easy.
I bet my next one will be quite easy as well. So listen to some of these. Some people they just can't. All right. Here's a reason for a divorce, according to a divorce lawyer. Every morning, this is disgusting and terrible. And I could be married 1,000 times and never find myself in a situation like this, ever. I'm totally against this 100%. Every morning, this couple would sit in the bathroom together while one of them had their morning dump. Okay, so right away, I don't think you're dealing with mentally well people.
No.
Normal,
absolutely not.
functioning people don't take dumps in front of each other.
I've always thought it's okay to leave some mystery in a relationship.
And
Yeah, I agree.
Your thought is absolutely correct, Josh. Okay.
I don't think my wife does that, but if she did, I wouldn't want to be in the room.
There's a singer named Meghan Trainor, and she's married to an actor, the kid from Spy Kids, and they got side-by-side toilets installed in their master bedroom.
They're insane.
Mm-hmm.
Why would they put it in the bedroom? That's odd.
The bathroom in the master bedroom. I didn't know how to word that correctly. It came out horribly.
I think you skipped over the honest part. The toilets in the bedroom.
Now, part of the reason why you would ever take craps in front of each other as a couple, part of the reason I've already said out loud, I think it's mental illness. But also, and Josh and I have seen this firsthand, some people like to brag about it as if they've reached a higher level in their relationship, something that you other folks wouldn't understand, haven't we, Josh? Some people use it as a bragging point. We poop in front of each other as if they're saying, I bet your relationship hasn't reached that level.
That is true.
What the hell's the matter with you?
I don't want it ever to.
Of all the things to brag about, I mean, come on. Anyway, I gotta get to
Yeah, you guys don't have a real relationship.
Right. So every morning, this couple would sit in the bathroom together while one of them had their morning dump. One would sit on the toilet, the other would sit on the edge of the bathtub. This particular morning, the wife was on the toilet and the husband on the edge of the tub. They started to argue about their relationship, so the wife reached down, pulled loose a tampon, and flung it at him. He filed for divorce the same day.
Oh.
And so would I.
Well, I don't know if I'd file for divorce, but I would definitely want to have a conversation about what just happened.
Yeah.
A man divorced his wife after she broke her jaw in a car accident and could no longer give dome.
Oh, come on.
Gross. Throw him away. Throw the whole
Jeez.
entire man away.
Yeah, that's a win for her by getting rid of that dude.
What, you can't dump dome on daddy anymore?
Then
He
now
married
you're
her?
useless. Yeah.
The
Ugh.
jaw will be fixed.
Well, no, it sounds like the car accident broke it for good.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I mean, it's in sickness and health, not in oral and no oral. Yeah, he had an out there.
This was the end of Noggin, Dana. This wasn't a temporary thing.
Oh.
And so he said, well, I'd like to file for divorce then.
Jesus.
I like this one. They argued over a year. They argued for over a year over custody of the cat. The divorce lawyer says they did not give two rips about their human kids.
Oh, they had actual kids. I was
They
picturing
just-
just a cat family.
Yeah.
They just argued over the cat.
I remember somebody had texted in when we talked about tough divorces saying that they had a custody battle over a pet where his ex didn't care at all about the pet but just wanted to bug the crap out of him because he knew how much he loved the dog.
That's messed up.
It was a hunting dog. He loved the dog, and she just wanted to really stick the knife in there.
Now, I never saw the movie. Never saw it. 50 Shades of Grey. I never did.
Me neither.
Ashley, you read the books, didn't you?
Yeah. I read some of the book, and then I watched both of the movies. I think there's only 2 movies.
I think there's more. Or maybe
That was a
I'm
trilogy, but I could be wrong.
Oh, I'm not sure. They weren't as great as I thought they were going to
Yeah,
be.
did you say they weren't dirty enough for you?
Yeah, it was pretty much like a huge letdown.
It's too tame.
Yeah.
Ashley's watching Pornhub in the theater like, this isn't good enough for me.
I've had that situation before. I've sat back before Ashley while watching a movie and said, they called this filthy?
Yeah.
But anyway.
Curb Machine Jesus on the topic of pooping in front of your spouse. I will poop in front of my wife if she feels the need to be in the bathroom, but I refuse to wipe while she is present. I'm a shy wiper, I guess. Can you leave? I'd like to wipe.
I don't think that your significant other should even be within 100 feet of the bathroom. It's wrong. Do you understand, everybody? It is wrong to defecate in front of other people.
I had...
I mean, in that situation, you know what I mean.
When I was preparing for my colonoscopy, which, by the way, is not a big deal. If you're afraid to do it, just do it. It's easy. I had told my wife, can we just be on different floors? I didn't even want her on the same floor. I didn't want her to have to deal with any of that. I didn't know what kind of noises were going to be made. I didn't know how bad this was going to be. So we were on different floors for a few hours there.
What I meant to say was it is wrong to willingly defecate in front of your significant other.
I'm in a relatively new relationship, probably I guess like 8 months now or so. Early on, a couple months ago, we were hanging out together. I faked that I had to run an errand in order to go use a public bathroom because I just didn't feel right. You know,
were you at her place or yours?
Her place, yeah. So, and you know, I could have gone to one of the other bathrooms. She's got a couple bathrooms, but I was like, we're running low Gator and some things. I'm gonna go get some snacks for when we watch the game later tonight. And faked to run to the grocery store. So I basically went to go get stuff just so I could use the public bathroom.
That's so smart.
All right, back to this 50 Shades of Grey movie now. I never saw it, but it was such a big deal where I think I get the gist of what was going on in the movie. One more of these little examples of strange reasons why people got divorced. A woman divorced. This is the fellas, this is what we're looking for right here, okay? A woman divorced her husband because he refused to treat her how Christian treats Anna in the movie 50 Shades of Grey. Isn't that something?
Just changed her whole life. All right.
And so, Adam, he's the dominant one?
Yes.
Okay.
Very dominant.
That's kind of what we're shooting for here, isn't it, boys?
She'd divorce me in a heartbeat.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think we'd even date very long. There was one more on the list I thought was pretty interesting. One of the clients thought his wife was having an affair, this divorce attorney said. It turns out she was just driving around for hours in the middle of the night playing Pokemon Go back when that was huge.
So, maybe that's all why Ryan Pacyga isn't a divorce lawyer. He's a criminal defense lawyer. He'll be making an appearance, like we said, a little bit later on today's program. So let's kick it in here. We'll take a break. We'll come back with stupid news and such on the Half-Ass Morning Show.
The 93X Half-Ass Morning Show.
Our experienced and certified technicians at Standard Heating have been trusted to keep our fellow Minnesotans comfortable and confident for over 90 years. We're ready to do the same for you, providing comfort you deserve since 1930.
And now is a great time to join their team. Standard Heating and Air Conditioning is currently hiring experienced and entry-level HVAC technicians, dedicated to improving the work-life balance of their employees by providing benefits that include parental leave and 401k match. Apply today at standardheating.com.
You loved Lala Kent on Vanderpump Rules. Now get to know her on Give Them Lala.
When you get married, I'm letting you know, no one gives but you. And when you get remarried, then people really don't accept you. No one needs to hear your backstory and speeches given. It's so boring. Have a cap, like no longer than a minute. No one cares about your love story. I know it's hard to hear.
Watch what Lala is talking about on YouTube or search for Give Them Lala wherever you listen.
Stupid news on the Half-Assed Morning Show.
Did I leave anything over there on the printer, Josh? I'm sorry. I'm so absent-minded.
Paper cut!
Oh, my God.
Oh, no.
Tell me you didn't get a legit...
that's a lot of blood.
I hate paper cuts. Okay, yeah, that's for later. Sorry, I always forget when I print things off, and then you reach for it, you get a paper cut, you're bleeding, and I'm the one to blame. Isn't that how it always plays out?
I'm not going to blame you for
the
that.
last person you ever think that would hurt you, what do they do?
They're the ones that hurt you the most?
They hurt you the most.
We should just move the printer over to you because it does seem like you print more stuff than I do.
Go ahead.
I could give it a try.
We can move it over right now.
We got
it won't take it. Wapple, tell a story or something while we move the printer over. Son of a bitch!
Wapple, what's the count? Where are we at for printers?
I think we're at 45.
What percentage of printers in your percentage expertise do we break around here?
Probably about 95.
Wait a minute. You guys throw in a point or something.
No, this one's just straight.
Oh,
95.
it's a straight, even 95.
Yeah, he's been doing the math on this one.
He forgot his own bit, is what happened right there. And that's.
You know, our old boss would have been pissed that you didn't say 93.7. I mean, he would have legitimately yelled at you after the show and go, oh, 95? Great. Now listeners are going to tune to KS95 for a superior morning show. Way to go, Wapple.
All right, as we fire up the stupid news here, congratulations are in order for a cop in Sacramento, California. Last week, he was recognized by Mothers Against Drunk Driving for his work in arresting drunk drivers. They gave him an award and everything. The officer.
That's quite an honor as a police officer.
Without a doubt.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that's you're saving lives.
Kind of what you're going for is to be recognized. I mean, most cops would probably say, "I don't need any recognition for this," but when it happens, I'm sure it's wonderful. The officer is named Raymond Barantes. So by God, congratulations, Raymond. Everyone, if you don't mind giving him a little round of applause.
Oh, he deserves it.
For all of his
morning show salute to him.
Over the weekend, he got arrested for drunk driving.
Son of a gun. Who would have saw that coming? I'm going to have my second lame claim to fame of the day, third of the week. A buddy of mine, he's a trooper, and he got this exact same award. He got to throw out the first pitch at a Twins game.
Oh, that's cool.
Nice. And you know how you said most cops, they don't want the accolades. They're just doing their job, right? They're just a man in uniform. He's the complete opposite. He made sure everybody knew he's an award winner.
I know a cop like that.
Same thing, wants the attention.
For Christ's sake, yes.
I don't even know why I'm friends with this guy, to be honest. But I do love him. I'm one of a very few that do love him.
You know, we just attempted to put together a count of how many printers we've gone through in the last, 20 years. I'd like to try to put together a count of friends that Josh has made who then he later regretted becoming friends with.
Well, can I add on to that?
Yes.
I'd like to put together a percentage, another percentage, Wapple, maybe we could use your expertise here again, of the ones you warned me were guys that I shouldn't be friends with, and I'm giving them too many opportunities, too many second, third, fourth, fifth chances.
Right. We've mentioned this before. You are the nicest guy in the county. You're too nice of a guy. You look absolutely at people's positives and ignore their negatives. And because of all of those elements, over the years, not to sound critical of you, Josh, but you make friends with dildos. And then usually,
at times, yeah.
Yes, and then usually 3 months later, here we are, off air, more often than on air. You say, I don't know what the hell I'm hanging out with this prick for.
But I still do.
Yeah, you do.
I still do.
All right, so the DWI hero cop got himself a DWI in Sacramento, California, home of Tesla. He was pulled, not the car, but the band, because who cares about the car? The band is where it's at. This cop was pulled over just before, noon on Saturday.
Oh, no.
Oh!
That's bad.
He was off duty at the time. It's unclear why he was pulled over, but the other cops suspected he was drunk. Somebody or another from MAD, Mothers Against Drunk Driving, said, I'm surprised constantly by who gets drunk driving arrests. One of the things we know is that drunk driving is an across-the-board issue. Old Raymond has worked for the cop shop there for about 9 years. He's on paid administrative leave while the department investigates his situation. Damn it, man, that's just silly.
Yeah,
he should have to give his award back. He doesn't deserve that.
I mean, people make mistakes, right? And this is a big one, obviously.
Yep.
But I think it would be different. As an award winner for something like this, wouldn't you feel like a hypocrite? Right? You're pulling people over for stuff like this.
Absolutely.
And you're doing the exact same thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I sure hope he totally understands and he's going along with the process, isn't complaining whatsoever. I mean, I don't know. I feel like a douchebag if I'm doing the exact same thing and I'm busting other people for it.
I hope he didn't do the thing like, hey, look, I'm an award winner. What are you pulling me over for? You know who I am?
I've done that, not for drinking, but when I won a Martin Luther King Jr. Poetry Award in 1987 and 1988 and 1989. I mean, I'm not counting. Or when I was a Louis Armstrong Jazz Band Award winner in 93. Yeah, all the cool stuff, man. All the awards that kids grow up wanting to win. I had those.
You must have gotten so much tail because of that.
Are you kidding me?
He was just falling out his pockets in the hallway at school.
Just never goes to class. He's just hooking up with chicks inside closets and empty classrooms.
Oh, man. We're at that time of year again where we'll be doing a lot of yard work for you unlucky sucker homeowners. I'm in that same boat. A lot of yard work.
I like yard work.
Hate it.
It's nice to be outside.
It's not nice to be outside.
I do like yard to a certain extent. Raking gets kind of tired. I get tired of raking, especially when you got to do it 3-4 times a year.
It affects the wrist a little bit, but I do like when you're done and then you look out and it's all completed and you're like, yep, I did that.
Oh, yeah, and then what's it look like 2 or 3 days later?
Oh, like you got to do it again.
It all sucks. Stop it with this. I like to be outside. Yard work is healthy. Stop it. It sucks.
I do
all
like
of it sucks.
I love mowing the lawn.
Yes. I mowed the lawn yesterday. It's very therapeutic. I enjoy it.
I do like doing
apartment?
that. But the
you guys are silly.
Well, you got your riding lawnmower. You got to love it now,
I mean,
right?
I like riding on my riding lawnmower, but there's other places I could go on my riding lawnmower as opposed to round in circles on my yard. You know what I'm saying? Let me just get
the raking sucks, especially because of the trees in my yard. Not one is deciduous. So I have no leaves of my own. It's all neighbors' leaves.
Oh,
that's messed up.
Thank you for explaining what that word meant before I had to
did I
ask.
say the wrong word?
No, I have no idea.
I never
let's just pretend I said the right one.
Yeah, let's go with it.
I never should have stopped renting. Okay.
I'm with you on that one, man.
Consider this a warning, I guess, for you folks who are up against yard work. And how come you don't have a blower, Josh? Why are you still raking?
I've got one. Okay. But it doesn't, it's not, I don't have a super powerful one. Like my brother has one of those backpack ones.
Oh, dude, you got to get a backpack one.
He'll let me borrow it at times.
My mom loves her backpack one, and she's so short and little, so she looks like a little Ghostbuster.
The problem is I don't have the core or shoulder strength to support it.
Yeah.
As much as
or leg strength.
As much as all yard work sucks, I got one of those 800-mile-an-hour bastards a couple of years ago, and it makes all the difference in the world. Of course, the first time I hooked it up, I didn't hook it up right, and when I turned the sumbitch on, brrr, I blew the friggin' nozzle right into my neighbor's yard. It was like I javelined the nozzle over to the neighbors. Well, you got a problem? I said, no, I didn't hook up the thing right.
I should get into it. Just it's tough to. I mean, as much as I don't like the raking, it's tough to justify because, you use it once a year.
Yeah.
I should get a better one because the one I have now is like a kitten sneeze. Basically, it's just like a polite request for the leaves to pile themselves together.
I mean, it sucks, but there are some tools and trinkets and gimmicks that can make it just
having the right tool makes a difference.
Slightly enjoyable.
Gundog Jesus said that his yard is way too small for a riding lawnmower. Still bought one with a bagger so he doesn't have to rake.
There's absolutely no reason, especially for a guy your age, Josh, to be pushing a friggin' lawnmower. There's no reason.
I don't have my yard's not big enough for a...
What did this guy's text just say?
I know what he said.
I think your backyard would be big enough.
And here's the deal. And again, for the millionth time. You have a 10, 11-year-old son and a 20-some-odd-year stepson? What the hell are you doing any yard work for?
Well, actually, my 11-year-old, he's banded together with some of the other boys in the neighborhood, and they've started their own little business of doing odd jobs for the neighborhood, including they've already got a couple gigs raking leaves. So, yeah, I'll be having those guys work for free at my house this year.
All you should be doing is looking out the window at other people doing that's... For God's sake, I think I was 2.5 when my dad put my twin brother and I out, and we collectively were attempting to push the mower. And he's going, "Go, you lazy bastards, go!"
Hey, no longer Florida Man Jesus said you can use your your leaf blower on snow. I never even thought of that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, I've seen people do that.
That's one of those things where I'm 48 and I never thought of something like that. I want a flamethrower for that. I'd rather have a flamethrower.
Yes,
I'm going to use my blower on Dana when he gets that hairpiece.
yeah. Tomorrow you start.
We're going to test that out. You're going to stand in my garage and
and you're going to intentionally not screw the nozzle on right like the first time you use it, so it just blasts me in the face.
I don't want to hit you in the jaw with my nozzle. We're going to test it out. Okay. Speaking of yard work and riding around on lawnmowers, you just can't be drunk off your ass rolling through town on one of those riding lawnmowers. You just can't. I know it's fun to be drunk on a lawnmower. I'd recommend staying on your own property if you're going to do beer laps while mulching leaves and whatnot.
You think you've ever been legally drunk on yours?
Oh, absolutely.
Do you want to take some time? Or, you got it off the top of your head, huh?
Yeah.
How I mean, you don't get like you used to.
No. I don't bomb beers like I used to, but absolutely I've been legally drunk on my lawnmower for sure.
Really? So to the point where the kind of drunk where you don't necessarily know if you're drunk, but you're saying it's the kind of drunk where I'm drunk.
All I'm saying is if a cop would have, had me go down on that breathalyzer, I would have failed.
That's like half the reason you get a riding lawnmower, so that you can drink beer while you're mowing the lawn then.
Just the other day I was wondering on my regular lawnmower if I could get a cup holder for like a Mountain Dew or something like that.
I bet there's a way. They make like attachable cup holders for everything.
There's got to be one.
Mm-hmm. Some dumb bastard down in dumb Florida got a drunk driving charge dumped on him for driving gooned on his riding lawnmower down the effing state highway.
Oh, the highway?
Charlie Harmon is the fella's name. He's 59 years old. There he was on his damn Kubota.
Ooh.
About 8:30 last Friday, just a rumbling down the side of the highway with, quote, no lights whatsoever, according to the local cops. And yes, he had a Steve Weiser right there in the damn cup holder. It was a tall boy, too, by damn. And he had 3 more cans of beer on the mower with him.
Oh.
So I imagine Charlie was planning on making some stops off at a few of his buddies' houses before the night was through. He told the cops, and I think Kubota just found their next television commercial pitch man. He told the cops, yeah, I got a valid driver's license, and I could have driven a car, but I preferred to drive my lawnmower.
Yeah. His pickup truck doesn't mulch on the way.
No. Charlie told the cops he was having a cookout at his house, but he ran smooth out of beer. So he was heading to the store to do some trading for more beer. We still have that Stone Cold. More beer. What the hell? What?
Oh, yeah.
What
One beer.
One beer?
Yeah, 2 beer. And then I had the Triple H and the Royal Rumble. Charlie Harmon here. He initially he agreed to go ahead with some of those funny field sobriety exercises, but he changed his mind and told the cops he was, quote, unfit to take part in anything that requires walking or balance. And that was it for Charlie for the night.
1 beer, 2 beers, 3 beers, a shot of whiskey, a margarita, and a Bloody Mary.
Then didn't he go down to Whataburger?
Yeah.
And then he got one of them fresh catch effing fish sandwiches. Boy, I mean, that was it for Charlie, our driving drunk on the lawnmower guy. I bet his bros waiting back at the cookout for more beer were probably a little let down when he never came back.
Definitely.
Where the hell is it? It's been 3.5 hours. This is no good. The oddball Jesus has texted our program, and he says, what does he say here now? He says, every time my girlfriend gets all good and drunk, she wrecks our lawnmower.
Oh.
That's an odd habit.
Well, what's going on over there,
Yeah,
oddball?
I want to hear more about this. She sounds pretty cool.
Got the same track record we do as printers.
Yeah, we're not too good with those.
On this beer belly, when I drink all your beer, I'm going down to Whataburger, and I'm gonna get a Whataburger with cheese, a Whataburger without cheese, a Whataburger with double cheese, a French fries, some more French fries. I wanted fresh catch fish sandwiches. Another Whataburger with double cheese.
The only reason I want to go to Whataburger is because of the Texas rattlesnake.
Yeah. Wrestling fans had to have pulled up to their drive-thru and made that exact order, right?
Yeah,
definitely.
I would hope so.
And that's where Michael Cole lost it, where Austin swore they're trying to describe their fish sandwich. What were you saying, Wapple?
I bet their employees just absolutely hate it. Here we go again.
Well, wouldn't you? If you worked in fast food, and let's say that he went to McDonald's when you worked there, you'd probably absolutely love it.
Maybe like the 10th time.
Oh boy, I don't know. We've played that clip so many times, and it doesn't get old.
The guy who sings a song to the drive-through individual? Is that it? The McDonald's bit?
No, I'm just saying if there was a similar McDonald's bit from Stone Cold, there's no way Wapple would get sick.
Oh, I thought you were referencing. Remember the dude who sang a song? Give me a Big Mac.
Yeah.
Big Mac
he
rap.
does his raps.
Oh, is a rap. Back to riding lawnmowers real quick, and I'm sure I probably told this story the last time we talked about riding lawnmowers, but I'm going to go ahead anyway. You know what big dumb animals we dudes are. A number of years ago, a friend of mine. We were drinking at the bar, and he says, hey, I went out and got a new riding lawnmower today. And we were all thrilled by this. That's how we bros operate. Oh, my damn, what does it do? And the blade width and the horsepower and the top speed and the mulching and the bagging. We wanted to know everything about his new riding lawnmower. So we got hammered, and then what was our next move? Of course, we have to go to his house now at 1 o'clock in the morning. And we have to fire this bitch up and see how it operates.
Duh.
So picture 5 guys in their friggin', I mean, we might have been 40 years old already. 1 o'clock, 1:30 in the morning. We are ripping around this guy's property on his new riding lawnmower. Everyone taking a turn driving it as fast as we possibly can. And then picture this, because this is how it played out. Eventually, just like in the movies, his wife has to tear open the upstairs bedroom window and scream at us, "Get off the lawnmower!"
I would like one of those zero-turn mowers.
What is that?
Yeah,
Where
those are
you
cool.
can, especially the stand-up ones where you can zip around. I think they go 80 miles an hour based on a couple neighbors who have
tell you something
lawn
about
care
those.
experts.
Skill for those.
Let me tell you something about those zero-turn lawnmowers, Cubby. They'll part your hair for you.
Oh, I'll bet. They look like a lot of fun. I wonder if those are expensive. I bet they are.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Don't use a flamethrower for snow, which is something I've always wanted to do, this text says. It takes forever. Love you, bye. And that's from Love You, Bye, Jesus.
The oddball Jesus says his girlfriend, he said that she gets drunk and ruins the mowers. She said, Oddball Jesus said that his girlfriend somehow always finds some cable or something. You know what I'm saying? When she's mowing.
Yeah.
She'll mow up the cables.
There's some rocks, dog toys. Gotta watch out.
All right. Sometimes a lie will come back to bite you in the ass. Normally weeks, months, maybe even years later, a lie will come back. But sometimes you can bone yourself with a lie instantly. A man in Kentucky had a lie blow up in his grill right away when he gave a false name to the cops during a traffic stop. The fake name this guy dumped on the cops just happened to be the same name as a wanted man.
That's awesome.
So the cops are like, so what's your name? Oh, my name? It's Osama
Dahmer?
Bin Laden.
Jeffrey Dahmer?
Right. The cops in Kentucky say that the dude that lied to him, his real name is Michael Jones. He was in the passenger seat when the cops stopped the vehicle he was riding in. Now, Michael Jones is also a wanted man. So he didn't want to give the cops his real name, so he made a name up, but just his luck, he tossed out the name of another effing derelict criminal in town who is also wanted by the cops. That's effing hilarious.
The luck.
The cops made a comment on this, Summers, on social media. They said, if you're going to give fake identification, make sure the other person isn't wanted too.
That would suck. I wouldn't forgive myself for something like that. All right, on the topic of zero-turn lawnmowers, I received a text here saying I recently purchased a zero-turn lawnmower, and I have had an erection ever since.
I want to see a doctor.
This Jones guy was ultimately charged with, everything. Tampering with physical evidence, possession of marijuanas, possession of drug paraphernalias, and theft of identity of another without consent. Anyone ever have a lie? Ever have a lie backfire effing immediately like that?
Not that I can think of off the top of my head.
Oh, I mean, one of my favorite stories of dishonesty comes from the old days here at the radio station, and a young kid we had in the building by the name of Timmy Blee. Some called him Masturbating Tim.
Oh, I don't want to know why.
We called him Timmy Blee, which is a separate story, but Timmy would sit around with me and one of my ex-radio partners. When we weren't on air, we would trade a lot of stories of debauchery and drunken nonsense. And me and my on-air partner at the time, Mike was his name, Mike tells this story of how back in high school, he was at a party, and he jumped into the back of his car with this girl, and this girl serviced him. But then she ended up vomiting all over his privates.
Oh.
Okay. Great story, right?
Yes.
He's in the middle of being serviced, and she vomits all over his gear. Fast forward about 5 months or so, and we're trading stories again. And Timmy Blee says, yeah, I remember this one beer party back in high school. And we went, me and this girl jumped into the back of my car, and all of a sudden she started kind of going down on me. And then she vomited all over my privates. And Mike says, that's actually my story, dude. And Timmy goes, I'm sorry, you guys. You tell all these great stories, and I can't keep up. I'm sorry. He begins to cry.
No.
He cried.
What'd you do?
Kicked his ass.
Yes.
We kicked. No, we didn't. We said, hang on, Timmy Blee. It's okay. He got wildly emotional, and he apologized. All right, I think I got time for... This sounds like a colossal nightmare right here. Oh, I'd be so pissed if I was on the losing side of this deal. I'm afraid I'd do something crazy, Cubby, like chop somebody's arms off or something. Car thieves stole nearly every car from a Philadelphia car dealership. And the joint has only been open for less than a week.
No.
What a need of the bag that would be.
It's crazy, not to this extent, but how often this happens lately where car dealerships are just getting vehicles ripped off.
Now, this wasn't those massive-ass dealerships with 100 cars for sale on the lot. It was a small little joint, but still. The joint is or was called City Motors of Philadelphia. 7 of the 11 cars in their inventory, how do you say it?
Inventory?
7 of the 11 cars in their inventory got snatched in one robbery. According to the local news over there, thieves broke into the dealership office last week. They found the keys to 7 cars, and they drove them smooth out of there. In the middle of this caper, there was an attempt to hotwire an 8th car, a Kia Sorento, don't you know, but they couldn't get it going. So as of when this story was written, cops have tracked down 3 of the stolen cars. You would think that would be good news, but it's really not. The robbers not only located the keys to these vehicles, but also their titles. A dude who runs the place by the name of Nate Kriegler, he's bummed.
I bet.
He said that the newness of the business was the reason for the minimal security that they had going on there. They had no security cameras to check on. They just opened the joint.
Darn it.
He also says they had no insurance for the vehicles.
Oh, surprised by that.
So he says if we don't recover the cars, we probably won't survive this. Guy just opened a business.
That stinks. And I bet if they find them, they got to worry about a Dirty Mike and the boys found them first.
Oof, yeah. Or, there's this one time a girl was servicing me in the back of a stolen vehicle, and there was some cleanup involved.
The word is car thefts in Philadelphia, like pretty much everywhere else, are completely out of control. Typically, thieves target franchise dealerships, but for whatever reason, these scumbag, derelict bastards, sumbitches, they decided to go after the little guys. You know who I think they need to call, Josh?
Who dat?
The Equalizer.
I can't wait for the new movie. We've talked not too long ago about not just dealerships, but also car manufacturers where they're getting their vehicles stolen. You know, they make like these Hellcats, right? The Dodge Charger or Challenger Hellcats. They'll just get a group of people and they'll go boost 7 of them right out of the parking lot of Dodge or whatever.
God, what a drag. I don't know. I just don't know. How do you become that kind of person?
Yeah, it's lost on me as well.
I don't get it. And it's just happening everywheres and all the time.
Sports on the 93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
We were riding over here this morning. They came and dropped me off, and Gunner gave me some more cards to get signed. And Declan, I'm like, well, I don't, we'll see. I'll send some cards over there to the Blue Jays guys in a postseason series, and be like, hey, you sign these for me? It's for my boys, I promise. And Declan, he goes, Dad, are we in the playoffs? This was this morning. And I go, yeah, we are. He said, you better not lose. I said, you know what, Declan? I'm going to do my best. They shoot it to you straight, and it's what you love about them. But it's nice to have them around. I guess that's what we're doing. Better not lose.
The Blue Jays with 2 out life will get George Springer as the tying run.
And the pitch. Ground ball right side. Diving stop Solano. To his feet. Feeds Duran. Steps on the bag. And the Twins win the game. The Minnesota Twins beat the Blue Jays 3-1. Twins win. Twins win. The Minnesota Twins win a playoff game.
What a stop by Donnie F. and Barrels over there. What a stop. I was pissed off they didn't show that replay enough. I mean, that was a terrific stop at first base by Donnie F. and Barrels over there. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
I was pissed off he didn't get enough credit for that because that could have been real trouble. Listen to that crowd from yesterday's game. That was great. We got a text message from a local legend, former wrestling referee Rob Page, who was at the ball game yesterday. And he said that was one of the craziest crowd experiences that I've ever been a part of. I'll start that over again. Rob Page said, that was one of the craziest crowd experiences I've ever been a part of. And I've been to 3 WrestleManias, he says.
Oh, that's saying something there.
The Twins' 18-game, 19-year-long playoff skid mark has finally come to an end. Boys got a win in Game 1 of their best-of-3 wild card round series against the Toronto Blue Jays yesterday. The final was Royce Lewis 3 and the Blue Jays 1. Is he the most cold-blooded hitter in the effing ball in the game today?
Gosh, that was beautiful.
It was.
Especially he hadn't played in 2 weeks.
Yeah, he's hurt. His hamstrings are garbage.
I was almost worried when they were doing those elaborate celebrations. I was like, just guide him carefully into the dugout and have him sit in a recliner.
Wheel him in on a stretcher.
Yeah.
Be careful.
Yeah, just bring him in Hannibal Lecter style and put him up to bat.
Yeah, I was nervous myself. It wasn't a single-handed effort yesterday, although Lewis provided the big offensive moments. And we'll get into all the fellas who contributed to yesterday's win when we get Randy Shaver in the mix here in about a half hour. But let's go ahead and let's get it over with today. F the drama for now. Game 2 is again at 3:30 at Target Field. It'll be televised on ESPN if you're not going down to the ballpark. Sonny Gray on the hill for the Twins versus former Twin Jose Berrios. That's how it's going to play out today. And like I said, I hope they just get her done. Crush these fools, and let's move on to the next round. Randy Shaver will have plenty to say about it. Like I said, in a half hour, don't go anywhere because Josh's news is coming up next.
The 93X Half-Ass Morning Show.
Our experienced and certified technicians at Standard Heating have been trusted to keep our fellow Minnesotans comfortable and confident for over 90 years. We're ready to do the same for you, providing comfort you deserve since 1930.
And now is a great time to join their team. Standard Heating and Air Conditioning is currently hiring experienced and entry-level HVAC technicians, dedicated to improving the work-life balance of their employees by providing benefits that include parental leave and 401k match. Apply today at standardheating.com.
You loved Lala Kent on Vanderpump Rules. Now get to know her on Give Them Lala.
I used to be so down with dudes giving me pet names right off the bat. The second a dude, I first meet him and he calls me baby, I'm like, and we're done here. Goodbye.
Really?
Yeah, don't call me babe, baby, boo, bye.
Interesting. That's
but
a big
I
red
can
flag.
call them boo because I call everybody boo.
What if that's their excuse?
Yeah.
That's funny.
No, you don't. You're a man. You move different than me.
Watch what Lala is talking about on YouTube or search for Give Them Lala wherever you listen.
Half-Assed Morning Show. 93X.
Not just here, but all over the country. But when you actually see it firsthand, it's quite shocking.
A Florida driver was caught on camera slashing a man with a machete in a wild road rage attack. 61-year-old Luis Ruiz Herrera is accused of jumping out of his car with the massive blade while stuck in traffic at a Miami intersection late last week. The video, captured on another driver's dash cam, showed Ruiz Herrera suddenly lunging at a scooter-riding victim who was stopped in the lane next to him. The victim managed to jump off his scooter and back away as the maniac closed the gap between them. He then allegedly swung the machete, slicing the victim's face.
We have incidents like that, not just here, but all over the country. But when he did his best, the Matrix impersonation, because he dodged back and he was just caught with the tip. But it was enough to nick him on the left cheek.
Seconds after the alleged attack, he jumped back in his vehicle and fled the scene. Cops later tracked him down and arrested him. It wasn't immediately clear what sparked that road rage ordeal. In a related story, also out of Florida, a man was arrested last Wednesday in a Planet Fitness parking lot after aiming a bow and arrow at people inside a car.
Oh, no.
Some unconventional weapons on the road.
Bow and arrow.
Got to put them away, Cubby.
Yeah, I think that's the only option. Or down. A road-raging motorcyclist stomped on the back windshield of a car carrying a mother, her friend, and her 2 kids on a Philadelphia street. The shocking moment, recorded by a tourist, shows the man riding a motorcycle with several other motorcyclists, dirt bikers, and ATV riders before he got off of his bike, and jumped on the car Sunday night.
Kids were screaming. It was insane. The only thing that protected my children from not having a bunch of glass shatter on top of them is that my back windshield was tinted. Justice will come to light, and it's only a matter of time.
As the suspect, wearing a "You Ain't No Killa" t-shirt, shattered the windshield, a gun fell from his pants. The driver, identified as 23-year-old Nikki Bullock, immediately got out of the car. You don't want to mess with her. She confronted the suspect, who pointed the handgun at her face before quickly stuffing it back down his pants. The motorcyclist then headbutted the victim like a man with his helmet still on as the two jaw-jacked at each other. Bullock didn't back down and shoved the man so hard he almost fell off his motorcycle. Philadelphia police said the department is seeking the suspect, and when they find him, they intend to throw the book at him.
Whoever that person is, if that person is caught and I get the chance to charge that person, we will be going very, very vigorously after that person for that conduct.
A witness said the suspect initially jumped on the woman's vehicle after a dirt biker hit her car, leading to an argument. Police arrested a man who allegedly fired a gun during a road rage incident in the North Metro last week. 10:33 a.m. Thursday, Brooklyn Park police were dispatched to an incident where shots were fired at a motorist. A suspect was identified and later taken into custody with the assistance of the Hennepin County Sheriff's Office and the Maple Grove Police Department. According to the Brooklyn Park Police Department, the assault was related to a traffic altercation. No injuries were reported.
Everybody's mad on the roads.
Yeah,
it appears that way. 3 people were injured over the weekend after a car drove off a bridge in Edina.
My God.
According to the State Patrol, the car was traveling south on Highway 169 around 3 a.m. when it fell down onto Highway 62 early Saturday. The driver, who was under 21, showed signs of impairment and he was processed for driving while impaired, criminal vehicular occupation, and drinking and driving while underage. The 3 occupants were taken to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. I know we posted this on Monday, didn't we?
Yep,
Ashley?
that's up on 93x.com.
Okay, yes, you can find that kind of buried amongst other stuff.
Just kind of went off the one road and landed down on the other one.
Yeah, straight down.
Yeah, like
Luckily,
the old
everyone's
shortcut
okay.
Mario Kart, you know?
This story comes on the heels of a recent study that revealed the Minnesota cities with the worst drivers. And it turns out maybe WAPA was onto something. Here's a list of the Minnesota cities where the drivers are said to suck. From 10 to 1, Savage, Andover, Lino Lakes, Elk River, Faribault, Minnetonka, Austin, St. Louis Park, Oakdale, and the Minnesota city with the worst drivers, Maplewood.
That's too good. I grew up there. That's awesome. Right on.
The new study also ranked what cities have the best drivers in Minnesota. And those are Apple Valley, St. Cloud, Rosemont, New Brighton, Winona, Brooklyn Park, Blaine, Plymouth, White Bear Lake, and the best and presumably richest drivers in Minnesota belong to Edina.
That's because everyone in Blaine's stuck on Central.
That's why they're good drivers, or because they're not going fast enough?
There's so many lights.
Dude, that's so true.
Central and University.
That does suck over there.
You hit one light, you've got another like 30 minutes.
Yeah, you're not getting there till tomorrow.
Yeah.
I drove through Blaine a few days ago.
I'm glad to see you're okay still.
Yeah, nothing's changed. I didn't enjoy it at all.
We've got more information this morning about a Minneapolis police officer who allegedly moonlights as an OnlyFans model. The officer was apparently outed last week after she pulled over a driver who turned out to be a subscriber to her page.
Is that right?
We were wondering yesterday how she got busted. The driver, who recognized the officer, said he'd been following her OnlyFans page for about 5 months. He said it took only 10 minutes before he figured it out and then narked on her.
We was doing a little talking and checking, as brothers. We was like, man, she got her OnlyFans page. I'm on her OnlyFans page.
As we mentioned yesterday, the officer, a well-respected cop who's been recognized for her good police work, appears to have been running an OnlyFans site that offers a range of adult content, including pornography and customized videos.
You got to go to the VIP and you get to see the videos of her and her, I guess, husband or whoever that is. They do full sex videos.
The MPD chief has confirmed an investigation is underway to determine if the Minneapolis Police Department policy has been violated in any way. Meanwhile, the driver says the realization changed his perspective during the stop.
I just can't respect that. I wouldn't respect you or the precinct that you're working with. You can't arrest me no more. I've seen your private parts.
It's not clear.
No, that's not how it works, dude.
That's a guy that doesn't understand the law.
No.
I believe they still can arrest you.
Arrest me because I've seen your private parts.
Hey, you can't arrest me. You didn't tell me you were an undercover cop.
When we were talking about this yesterday, I guess I've never even thought about like them actually pulling somebody over and the person knowing who they are. I guess I could see that not being cool.
That can happen.
Yeah,
I don't know why this guy had to open his mouth.
I would have shut up if I were him.
Like that.
Yeah, I don't get it. He just wanted to get out of whatever ticket, I guess.
He's pissed off for being pulled over, right?
Yep. It's not clear how long the investigation will take, but Channel 9 said as of last check, the officer's OnlyFans page is still up and running.
Well, wow.
As we discussed yesterday, word is that the officer never identified herself as someone who works for a police department, much less the Minneapolis Police Department on our OnlyFans page.
We
and
still
the governor,
don't have a username, though?
No, I'm sorry. I'm sure if you Google it, you probably find it.
True, yeah.
I'm checking Reddit.
No, excuse me, not the governor, but the Minneapolis mayor's office said as far as they're concerned, they're cool with it. They don't see an issue.
That's badass right there.
A Texas grandfather who was about to officiate the wedding, a wedding in Nebraska, accidentally shot and wounded his own 12-year-old grandson when he tried to fire a gun in the air to get the attention of guests who weren't paying attention.
Dude, what is wrong with you?
Now, the gun was filled with blanks, right? So he thought it was going to be fine, but it turns out it wasn't. 62-year-old Odessa, Texas resident Michael Gardner is facing some legal trouble after his revolver went off about 5 p.m. Saturday and accidentally struck the young boy in the shoulder. Again, it's his grandson. Before the attention-catching shot, guests were scattered around the Denton, Nebraska venue because the nuptials started late after someone forgot the wedding rings.
A gentleman who was officiating the wedding decided to gain everybody's attention and start the wedding with a bang that he was going to shoot into the air with a blank to gain everybody's attention so that they could come up to the wedding.
The sheriff's official said the gun fired a blank round, which had black powder in the casing, which was glued together. When he decided to cock back the hammer of his revolver, it slipped and shot his grandson in the shoulder, causing an injury, police said. Later adding what we believe is the glue injured the child.
He did turn himself in at the adult correctional facility, and he was lodged for a 3A felony for neglectfully firing a firearm and injuring someone.
What a dope.
The injury was thankfully non-life-threatening. Kid's going to be okay. A little awkward, though, around the house. A Staten Island man was arrested for shooting his neighbor during a feud over fireworks. 57-year-old Dominic Giordano was allegedly set off by his neighbor's habit of setting off fireworks on his block. The simmering tensions exploded Sunday about 12:15 a.m. when Giordano allegedly blasted the 41-year-old man in the torso and opened fire toward a house which had children inside. The victim is going to be okay.
He's going to be okay, huh?
A South Florida man was arrested Monday after having a total meltdown at a McDonald's drive-thru. According to Miami Springs police, the incident stemmed from an argument over a few cents on a breakfast order. Surveillance video from the drive-thru showed the customer unleash the fury on a store manager, and as the employee handed the man a hot coffee, he slapped it away and sped off. The shift manager said the man is a regular, and from what he was told, the dispute was over a single penny.
He orders a sausage McMuffin with a round egg separately, and he orders a senior coffee. It was over a penny. That's what I heard. That's what the rest of the crew told me.
The police report said the reason the man was so angry was the amount he was being charged. He thought it should have been 1 cent cheaper. Authorities said the man later turned himself in, and when he was interviewed, admitted he was not happy with the service. Then in North Dakota, a Bismarck man pulled a gun at a McDonald's after after another man refused to buy him a Big Mac and a Happy Meal, a complete stranger. The customer told the man to get a job and walked into the restaurant after he was asked to buy the meal. The suspect followed the customer into the store, pulled a handgun from his waistband, pointed it at the customer, and told him what he said was disrespectful.
Nope, that is terrifying. That escalated so quickly.
Respectful.
Hey, stranger, why won't you buy me these items? Prosecutors expect to charge a 17-year-old as an adult after police say he stabbed a coworker with 2 steak knives early Sunday morning.
Oh, double stabbing.
Over a missing set of Apple AirPods. The stabbing happened just before 1:30 a.m. outside the movie theater where the two worked. A warrant states that the victim, also 17, had borrowed a set of AirPods from another coworker the week prior. The night he borrowed them, he got a ride home from that coworker and saw a different pair of the earbuds sitting in the passenger seat of the coworker's car, thinking they were the ones he had just borrowed. It would turn out, according to detectives, the earbuds had belonged to the eventual stabbing suspect. On Saturday evening, the victim arrived for his 6 p.m. shift, having forgotten to bring the earbuds. Witnesses said the suspect brandished the 2 knives from a fanny pack he was wearing. The witnesses each recalled the suspect rubbing the blades against one another menacingly in a sharpening-like motion.
That's a cool move.
The victim turned around and tried to flee, but tripped on a sidewalk and fell to the ground, just like out of a horror movie, at which point the suspect pounced on top of the victim and began his stabbing. As of Monday, the victim was in the intensive care unit recovering from his injuries. AirPods.
A mistake. All over a tiny little mistake.
8 members of an organized crime ring in northeast Pakistan have been arrested for organ trafficking.
Oh.
The ring's alleged leader, Fawad Mukhtar, is accused of extracting the kidneys of more than 300 people and transplanting them into rich clients. The transplants were carried out in private homes, often without the patient even knowing, and the kidneys were then sold for up to 10 million rupees, or $120,000.
This is the shadiest damn thing I've heard all day.
Yeah, I always thought this was fake.
I'm glad I got out of that business, Cubby.
I'm glad you did, too. It turns out it's not very, well, it's profitable until they bust you. Authorities said at least 3 people died from having their organs harvested in this way.
I think I saw that movie.
This is a strange fact. The commercial trade of human organs was only made illegal in Pakistan in 2010. Before that, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Maybe you just didn't know the laws.
In January, police uncovered another organ trafficking ring after a missing 14-year-old boy was found in an underground lab after having his kidney removed.
What was that movie called? Piss Poor Vacation. I think that's what. Anyone else see that movie where they're on vacation and the girls are totally topless and hot as hell, and then the organs start falling out, and then there's a helicopter and they're running through the jungle and there's more.
Was it something like Descent? Or am I thinking something different? I never saw it, but I know what you're talking about.
Piss Poor Vacation.
If an ear-piercing alert blares through your cell phone at approximately 1:20 p.m. today, don't be alarmed. The federal government will be conducting a nationwide test of its emergency alert system and wireless emergency alert this afternoon, sending messages through several communication channels, including cell phones.
The test message will read, "This is a test of the National Wireless Emergency Alert System. No action is needed."
There's no opting out. The purpose of the test is to ensure the effectiveness of the alert systems in reaching the public during emergencies, particularly those on a national level.
We recognize that in disasters, seconds count. Getting alerts out promptly to our communities saves lives. That's why FEMA is working with the Federal Communications Commission and your local public safety authorities on this test.
The scheduled day for the nationwide test coincides with the statewide tornado siren drill, which echoes across Minnesota at 1 p.m. on the first Wednesday of each month. But for today, regular siren testing will occur at the same time as the nationwide alert, 1:20 p.m.
Oh, geez, that's going to be a very, very noisy couple minutes there.
Despite Cubby's warnings, how many of us do you think are going to jump through the ceiling when our phone starts?
I'm terrified.
Yeah, I'm going to crap the sofa.
That's like right in the middle of when I usually nap. So yeah.
You want to turn your phone off then, I guess.
By the way, the topless girls and the organs being pulled out of people, touristas.
Yes, I've heard of that.
Touristas.
I forget, did you say if you enjoyed it or not?
That's pretty stupid, but I enjoyed it because of all the topless girls.
Yeah, you like topless girls.
Sure do.
I find them appalling. Chucky Season 3 premieres tonight. The build-up to the third installment of the TV series has been filled with twists and turns after previous promos revealed the killer doll somehow makes his way to the White House.
To the White House?
Anybody can get into the White House, it seems like. What's going on? Chucky's there. While it's still unclear as to exactly how Chucky found a new friend till the end in the president's son, trailers reveal the return of the rest of the main cast, who audiences have come to love over the last 2 seasons. Titled Murder at 1600, the first episode of the new season arrives tonight with new episodes to follow weekly. Along with airing on Sci-Fi and USA, the series will also stream on Peacock, where the first 2 seasons are currently running.
I just can't imagine why anyone would still be following this stupid doll around.
It's really popular.
Yeah, I know people think. I haven't watched it yet.
Neither have I.
I only saw the first movie. I kind of stopped after that. The streaming premiere of The Haunted Mansion hits Disney Plus today. The new remake stars Owen Wilson, Rosario Dawson, and Tiffany Haddish. Then tonight on NBC, the second season premiere of the rebooted Quantum Leap.
Oh.
Former Minnesota Twin pitcher Kyle Loesch, 45 today.
Jeez, I haven't heard that name in a long damn time.
Cher on Clueless, George Clooney's Batgirl, and He-Man's mom on the new Netflix Masters of the Universe series. Alicia Silverstone, 47.
He-Man's mom.
She-Man. No, it would be She-Man. Mrs. Man.
Oh, man. Hey, how's your acting career going? Well, I think you'd say things are going pretty well. I am playing He-Man's mom.
I loved He-Man as a kid. He's Ray Donovan and the voice of God on Hard Knocks. Liev Schreiber turns 56 today. Christoph Waltz, who won Best Supporting Actor Oscars as SS Officer Hans Landa in Inglourious Bastards. Boy, was he good there. And as a bounty hunter named King Schultz in Django Unchained. He's 67 today.
I mean, so those were similar characters, but both very enjoyable.
Yeah, I like that guy. Happy 7th anniversary to Sean from the wife, Short But Fat Cheeses. Mediocre Machinist Cheeses text in saying I'm off the rest of the week, so could I get an early shout out or whatever? I'm getting married Sunday down in Red Wing. Congratulations.
Well, he says he's getting married, but it's probably some kind of a joke or someone got a DWI.
Yeah, why lie? Why lie about this?
I don't see any proof of a marriage license. This is the first that he's mentioned it. So
yeah, he's acting. Yeah, this brand new announcement.
Right.
And a shout out to the guys at G&K Machining in East Bethel from Metal Grinding, Deburring Jesus, and that's 93X News.
Care 11's Randy Shaver.
I think that he has kind of a sick mind.
On the Half-Assed Morning Show.
Deep to left field, going back Varsho, turning, looking, see ya! A 2-run home run for Lewis, and just like that, the Twins are up 2-0.
And the magical run continues for Royce Lewis.
High fly ball, right field and deep. Springer back, turning, looking, see ya! He's done it again! Back-to-back home runs for Lewis, and it's 3-0 Twins.
18 consecutive playoff losses was a big deal in this city. What do you think it means to this city? What does it mean to this team that we no longer have to talk about this again?
It means a lot, and it means a lot that the fans encouraged us, and they had that energy for us. They brought it, and we brought it for them.
You popped 2 home runs. How did you do it?
You know what? It was the fans. It was all these guys, man. I truly thank you. Thank you so much.
God dang. What a crowd. Here comes Randy Shaver and Brad Ryder. Hello, boys.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I like to think that we all played a role in yesterday's wild card win for the 2020 Twins.
Yeah.
I was one of the people there.
Were you at the ball game, Brad?
I was at the ball yard, yes.
A lot of folks...
For the sports game?
I saw the competition.
Yes.
A lot of folks, and I'm included in this, really were kind of wowed by the noise that crowd created yesterday.
I will say that the crowd was really into it after that first home run that got people going, kind of let people relax a little bit, but then it got pretty quiet in the middle innings.
Well, I'm just talking about what I mean by this, Brad, is the pops. When it came time for a crowd pop, it was CM Punk type stuff.
Sure.
It really was. From my television at home, I was telling myself, I don't know how, it's been a long time since I've heard those kinds of crowd pops from a Twins game.
I think there was a big collective sigh of relief after Griffin Jacks got out of that inning in the eighth, because I said there was a lot of nervous people when he came in the game. People who've been watching the Twins the last month or two know he's been struggling a little bit. And I think after he got through that inning, I think then everybody kind of let loose a little bit.
He's one of the guys that deserves a lot of credit for yesterday's win. But let me get back to the crowd real quick. I like the comment from the skipper there, Rocco. He said, I thought the place was going to split open and melt.
Rocco!
It was out of this universe there today on the field. The fans took over the game. They helped us win today. It certainly seemed from my television, from sitting at my place, like you folks really had it cooking.
Yeah, I mean, I think like you said, people knew when to turn it up and when to just kind of sit back and watch the game. And I think it was a good crowd.
And you can't blame Twins fans for being a little pensive, if that's the word, right?
Right. No, I think the middle part of the game, people were starting to get a little bit nervous, like what's going to happen? Okay, what's going to ruin this? But you know, the 2 home runs really helped a lot.
Did you get into the beer, get the shirt off, swinging it over your head, and the whole?
No, not quite. No.
The Twins' 18-game, 19-year-long playoff turd stain has finally been washed clean. They got the 3-1 win in Game 1 of their best-of-3 wildcard round against Toronto. And Royce Lewis, my God, I asked everyone here earlier, is he the most ice-cold, pimp-ass hitter in the effing game today or what?
I would say that Royce Lewis is this generation's Kirby Puckett.
That's who Royce Lewis is for this Twins generation, for this team, for the franchise, for the fans. He is their version of Kirby Puckett. He is super likable. He's a clutch player. It's jump on my back, boys. I gotcha kind of player. And we saw it through from August into September and yesterday. Tremendous player.
His third at bat yesterday after those first two, I was there with my son. I leaned over to my son. I'm like, there is no chance they are throwing him a strike in this at bat. And they didn't. They didn't throw him anything.
He didn't throw him a fastball. Let's put it that way.
Right.
He did not throw him a fastball.
His fourth at bat, when he grounded out, you could tell when he was running down to first base, he is still not right. And he is not right at all. And if they're going to go deep, he needs to play third base at some point because Polanco just does not look.
I think he was a little nervous yesterday. I think Polanco was a little tight yesterday. I think that'll get better.
Yeah. I think
the more games they play, hopefully they play a lot of ball games. I think Jorge will do all right.
I think the play of the day was Correa's play to throw Bichette out.
100%.
And when you watch that play from behind home plate, and you see that he didn't even back up Polanco. He was standing watching Polanco make the play.
He was 3 feet from second base when he started running.
It was phenomenal how quickly he got to the ball. And I don't know if there was hesitation on Bichette's part to try to get home or not, but
didn't look like it. It looked like Bichette was cooking pretty good.
Yeah, I'm watching it right now and doesn't look like he stops at all.
Correa's play, to me, changed. I think it was in the fourth inning.
That's a great play.
Changed the way the game turned out because had Bichette scored, that could have opened some floodgates for Toronto. And it was just a phenomenal play. The throw off balance to get him out, the great play by Jeffers at the plate. I mean, that whole thing, when you consider that Correa was not even trying to back up Polanco. He felt like Polanco, I'm sure, had that play nailed. Phenomenal.
And I think Jeffers had to short hop that throw, too. I mean, I don't think it came to him on the fly. I
can't remember.
Look at that. I think he had to short hop the throw and get the tag down, too. So it was a great play all around.
It was a one-man show offensively with Royce Lewis, but there were some great plays alongside
Solano
Carlos Correa.
And the
Michael A. Taylor,
by Taylor
making a couple of grabs in the outfield. That kid is so talented. And Randy Shaver, I'm not trying to argue. Correa's play was a terrific play, and it had a big difference in the outcome yesterday. But the best defensive play of the day was Donnie effing Barrels at first base when the dude goes opposite field, who was at Merrifield. If that ball gets through in the top of the ninth, that could have been real trouble. That was a hot shot to first that Donnie Barrels handled. That was...
I mean,
you mentioned
a lot
Griffin Jacks, Caleb Thielbar, the whole
when Varland came in with 2 on and 2 out in the sixth, and I can't remember who it was, but they smoked that ball out to Taylor,
Chapman, I believe.
Yeah, and if he doesn't make that catch up against the wall,
Right. So there you go. They got game one. Let's just get it over with. Let's get it over with today.
Yeah, let's don't prolong it.
Let's smoke these fools.
If you prolong it, that could be an issue. So today's
Sonny Gray,
obviously a very important day.
Sonny Gray on the hill against Jose Barrios. It's also a 3:30 start, televised on ESPN if you're not going down to the ball game. What else did I want to say about Royce Lewis? Became the third player in big league history to hit home runs in each of his first 2 career postseason plate appearances. The others, Evan Longoria in 2000+8 and Gary F. Me running Gaetti for the Twins in 1987.
There's a conversation that Dan Hayes put on Twitter yesterday. It says, Sonny Gray's 5-year-old son, Declan. This is him saying, Dad, is it in the playoff? Is it the playoffs? And Sonny says, yeah, it is. And Declan says, then you better not lose.
We were riding over here this morning. They came and dropped me off, and Gunnar gave me some more cards to get signed. And Declan, I'm like, well, I don't, we'll see. I'll send some cards over there to the Blue Jays guys in a postseason series and be like, hey, you sign these for me? It's for my boys, I promise. And Declan, he goes, Dad, are we in the playoffs? This was this morning. And I go, yeah, we are. He said, you better not lose. I said, you know what, Declan? I'm going to do my best.
There you go.
Love that.
That's cute. If I feel like King Kong, I'm going to throw like King Kong.
Yeah.
Or I'm going to try to anyway. Who said that and when, Randy Shaver?
I don't know.
Jack Morris before
Jack
Game
Morris.
7 of the 1991 World Series.
Should have guessed Jack Morris. Sounds like Jack Morris.
King Kong ain't got on me! Oh. How about this story now connected to yesterday's ball game? A young fella walked from Mayer, Minnesota to Target Field for yesterday's playoff game.
What?
He says...
I know where that is. That's a long way away.
Yeah, it's 37, 8 miles, something along those lines, Brad
Oh, my
Ryder.
gosh.
He walked from Mayer to Target Field. He says it's a family tradition. Hank, why do you drink?
To get drunk.
Oh, God, thank God there's some Hank Jr. fans out there. Why do you roll smoke?
To get stoned.
Why must you live out the songs that you wrote?
Gosh, I love that song.
To get laid.
When Target Field opened in 2010, I believe, my dad and some of my other extended family members, they walked to Target Field. And ever since, I've kind of had it in the back of my mind. It would be something I want to do. And then I floated it this year, because for a while now, the Twins were going to win the Central. So I floated it to a group chat, and they all said, you won't do it. I obviously had to do it.
Are you walking home?
No. My beautiful mother is picking us up, thank God.
So when did he leave?
3 o'clock in the morning.
3 in the morning.
3 in the morning to get there.
Yes, he did.
That's awesome.
No, snow.
Stop and think it over. Try to put yourself in my unique position. If I get stoned
Did
and
he get
sing
there
all
right
night,
on
it's
time?
a family tradition. 3 a.m. yesterday, he started walking east to the ball game, about 3 dozen miles. It's a 25-year-old guy by the name of Josh Campbell.
I just punched in on Google Maps how long it would take to walk from Watertown to Target Field. 11 hours.
Well, it says here 12 and a half.
Okay.
But I think maybe, it took him around that amount of time.
According to Google Maps, if you take County Road 6, it'll get you there in 11 hours.
He took the loose line, Brad.
Oh,
Ryder.
that's 11 hours and 35 minutes. Sure, yeah.
Josh, did it mention in the audio there what his dad did, where this all came from?
It just that it was a family tradition, but no, I didn't leave the part in about how it started.
This tradition started back in 20+10. His daddy, a guy named Peter Campbell, made that same walk from Mayer to Target Field when the joint opened.
Why not just drive?
That's why, because it's something different to do.
Okay.
Hey, have some fun with it.
Right? If you're walking the loose line, why not ride a bike?
It's tradition, Randy.
So that's where you want to take this? You want to question this guy's
I don't get why you...
So this kid and his brother-in-law used the loose line. They took breaks every 7 to 8 miles. The old man met him at different spots with food and water. But like you heard in Josh's audio, he did not walk home. His mama came to pick him up. It was just a cute little trick. That's all, Randy.
Yeah, that is cute.
Yeah, he'd just be getting home about right now.
Mayor of Minnesota.
If he
that town is
survived.
small.
If he survived.
Right.
So you mentioned the Google Maps thing, and it tells you the distance, if you walk, drive, ride a bicycle, right? Has everyone looked up that gimmick before?
Yeah, I'm on it right now.
And so you're saying that on average they say, 11 and a half, 12 hours?
Yeah, if you take the loose line, it's 11 hours and 31 minutes.
Did I tell you, this was a very proud moment in my life. This had to be 7 or 8 years ago. I got awful drunk, and they said to me, Nick, why do you get drunk? Why do you roll smoke? I got awful drunk in Wayzata, down right on the lake, and I walked to my place, which is a couple miles north of there. Okay, and I was too drunk, and there was no cabs answering the phone call, so I just said, "F it, I'm going to walk home," and I did. Then the next day, somebody said, "Hey, how long did it take you?" And I don't remember what the exact answer was, but then they showed me Google Maps and how you can look up the average time it would take to walk from downtown Wayzata to my house. And I beat the average, Josh, by about 4 minutes.
That's impressive.
That's nice. That's awesome.
And I even stopped in my old front yard and took a whiz.
I love when I beat the GPS. It feels like a win.
To Randy's point, if he would have taken a bike, it would have taken him 2 hours and 42 minutes.
Oh,
that's the difference?
Wow, that's incredible.
That's a dramatic difference.
Yeah. Are you sure?
I would have biked.
Yeah, I'm still on the page. Yeah.
I have biked the loose line all the way from Plymouth all the way to whatever it ends, Watertown, whatever that is, and back. I've done that.
Yeah.
So it's not that bad. I mean, it can be done, and you'll survive.
Well, let me punch in Plymouth.
That does not sound fun.
I'm surprised by the massive difference between walking and bicycling.
Mm-hmm. The Watertown to Plymouth on a bike would take you an hour and 55 minutes.
Right.
Well, at any rate, I was pretty proud when I beat the Google Maps average on foot, and I am not a fast walker. And I even, like I said, I stopped to hang it. The scores from the other wild card round opening games yesterday: Texas shut out Tampa Bay 4-0. Arizona beat Milwaukee by 3 runs. I wonder how our buddy Brewers High Life, what the hell's that guy's name? A big Brewers fan that listens to our show. I wonder how he's dealing with that. And Philadelphia beat Miami 4-1. Apparently, the Rays-Rangers wild card game 1 yesterday had the lowest attendance for a big league playoff game since 1919.
Which is probably why they're building a new stadium, right?
Yeah. And no one's surprised by that, I'm sure, because Tampa Bay's always had a hard time dragging folks into the ball game.
Mm-hmm.
Right. We talked real quick about Terry Francona yesterday. Unfortunately, the story we told about former now Cleveland Guardians manager Terry Francona is that someone stole his scooter and pooped on it.
So messed up.
But here's the, we thought maybe he was all done with baseball. He did step down as Guardians manager yesterday, but he said he's not officially retiring from baseball. So maybe he'll take a gig doing something else.
Might do some TV.
He'd be great on TV.
Maybe that's it. I was thinking working for somebody's front office, but maybe he will do television. Won a couple World Series. We should honor his managerial career for a quick minute. I mean, he did win a couple of World Series. You know, he took a few Guardians teams higher than most folks thought they were capable of.
Sure.
And I was reminded of this disastrous statistic when reading about Terry Francona's career. I had briefly forgotten about this. In 2016, he and the Cleveland then Indians had a 3-1 series lead over those friggin' stupid Chicago Cubs. And then the Cubs had to come back and win it all and just make everybody so happy, because aren't you always rooting for the Cubs? They're the lovable losers. I hated every second of that. Well, we were all supposed to stop our lives, weren't we, and wait for the Cubs to win a World Series.
I thought it was pretty fun.
It was not fun. It was anything but fun.
I enjoyed the entire
Dana,
thing.
don't poke the bear.
I did not. Dana.
His heart can't take it, Dana.
Dana, you and I didn't owe the Cubs jack squat. They had been to the World Series. They had been to the World Series 8 or 9 times and lost, but we were all supposed to, when are they going to get their chance? They had their friggin' chance.
I want to apologize to the rest of you. I shouldn't have done that.
Yes.
You got to know better, man.
Yeah,
Come
I know.
Wasn't your fault, Dana.
Thank you.
You used to see a lot of Cubs hats. I don't see them as much as I used
Isn't that weird?
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, you used to see them all the time.
All over town. Everybody was a Cubs fan for 3.5 months. So as everybody knows, the New York Giants just got straight up clam slammed by the Seattle Sea Ducks on Monday Night Football. Their quarterback, Glenn Peabody, what the hell is his name again?
Glenn Peabody.
Jimmy Smith.
Daniel Jones.
Daniel Jones. He got dumped on his back. What was it, 11 or 12 times, Randy Shea?
10
times. Some folks are calling the 2023 Giants the worst primetime team ever. And I think you said something about this, didn't you, yesterday, Randy? How badly the Giants have been outscored since they beat the Vikings last.
They've been outscored by 100 points.
Okay.
Since they beat the Vikings in the playoffs.
And they've got all these primetime games, and they've got a couple more on the schedule. It says here, last football season, the Giants not only made the playoffs, but advanced to the divisional round after beating another primetime juggernaut, Kirk Cousins and the Minnesota Vikings. So the Giants were selected for 5 primetime games this year, but through the first 4 weeks of the season, 3 of which have been featured in prime time, the Giants haven't just been bad, they've been historically bad. In their primetime games, so far this season, they've been outscored 94-15. The worst differential by any team in a span of 3 primetime games dating back to the AFL-NFL merger of 1970.
And I think that will be extended when they go to Miami and get clobbered by the Dolphins this weekend.
But here's the deal. Aren't some of these setups, they have the possibility of being flexed, otherwise known as just eliminated, and they put some other teams on top?
Depends if it's a Sunday night game. I think Sunday's the only night that gets flexed.
So there's another article going around saying, NFL primetime games for the rest of the season are looking to be a disaster.
Well, that's what happens. You put the Jets in like 12 of them, and Aaron Rodgers goes down.
Right. They've been flexing some games a couple games to Monday night, too, because of the writer strike.
They mentioned the Bears, the Broncos, the Jets, the Patriots. They even throw the Vikings in there.
They've got, 4 more? Something like that?
Right. All of these teams.
All later in the year, too.
Who are pretty piss poor. All of them have 3-4 primetime games. But here's the thing. As you guys know, I love bad football. The sooner you can embrace bad football, the sooner you'll stop whining about the matchups for primetime NFL games. I mean, are you an NFL fan or not? Hardcore NFL fans just straight up whack off to the stuff. They go to the dumb draft parties. They spend all their money on 27 different fantasy football teams, but then they whine when the matchups aren't good enough for me. Well, then don't watch the game. Dana, that also wasn't your fault, that blow-up, right? You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
And then every week there's an NFL dork out there who has to bitch about the announcers, who are always against the Vikings, just for the record.
Especially that Joe Buck.
They're right, always against us.
The referees are always against us. The announcers are always against us. Yeah.
Usually, a lot of bitching happens when an announcer shows too much positivity towards a quarterback. That drives people crazy. Josh, did you watch the Jets and the Chiefs?
Yeah, I did.
So you tell me, there's a football writer named Bill Simmons out there. He's criticizing Sunday Night Football announcer Chris Collinsworth for having what he calls a live orgasm over Jets quarterback Zach Wilson during the Jets-Chiefs game this past.
I saw a lot of people mention that. I guess I didn't notice it as much. Here's Simmons talking about it.
Chris Collinsworth. I didn't know somebody could have a live orgasm for an hour and a half on the air. It was like when Howard Stern has the people ride the Sibian. Like, oh, Zach Wilson. Oh, he's making all the throws, Mike. Ah! He was just like losing his mind.
Here's a couple. I'm sorry, go right
I
ahead.
was going to say, here's a couple of them from Collinsworth.
You can't play quarterback better than this. All these throws are perfect. If he doesn't go back shoulder there, that one's picked off. I don't think Brian Cook could believe where he put that ball. Wow, what a drive.
All right.
Yeah, you know.
It's just
doesn't sound like an orgasm to me, but I'm not an expert.
The people who are the people who are you are too
anymore.
You are. You can probably teach everybody about orgasms.
Nah. If you and my wife had a discussion, you'd understand that's not the case.
The people who bitch about announcers, I don't get it.
If you don't like listening to them, just turn the sound
Right.
down.
Yeah,
I personally like listening
That's
to
the
announcers.
easy
And
solution.
if you don't like the teams that are on, turn the channel.
Now, back to the MILF man, Zach Wilsonowski. Back to the MILF man. He did have a pretty good game against the Chiefs, didn't he?
He did.
And NFL fans
did.
think they know why. They think he played well because he knew women were watching.
That's a real thing.
In youth sports, I always played better when the girls would stay after school to watch like the basketball game. Absolutely.
Nick, you've seen it happen to me on the golf course.
There's no doubt that it's a real thing. Oh yes, I remember this.
The 2 times in my life I've ever played golf, both with you. We were out playing golf, and there was these cart girls that came over, super attractive girls. We were young men at the time.
We were very young.
And I was sweating because it was my turn. And I'm dragging it out as much as I can, thinking, will these girls please leave? I'm so bad. I don't want them to see this. And eventually it got to the point where I just had to get up there and do it. And it was the drive of my life.
Yes.
I've never hit a ball that well before, going to the driving range or anything.
That's
because
awesome.
you were more focused in front of the hot checks.
Yeah, I didn't want to embarrass myself.
You didn't want to embarrass yourself. You wanted to impress them. Hell yes, that's a real thing.
Do you remember how long I drug that out?
Yes, you did.
I would have tried so hard, Josh. I suck when I have to do things in front of people. It makes me so much worse.
There's a pretty funny meme going around on Twitter after Sunday night's game where Taylor Swift is, talking to Brittany Mahomes. I don't know if anybody's seen this or not, but the meme is supposedly she's whispering to Brittany Mahomes, "Yes, that's Zach Wilson. He likes moms."
Yeah, I've seen that. That's good.
I saw another funny meme I might tell you about here in a minute, but you had to be there maybe. But when Josh and I were on this miserable golf outing, I don't know what we were doing it for, but
it was with the Wild.
Oh,
like the Wild. It was a charity thing with the Minnesota
Thank
Wild.
God
It was the two of us in Sickman.
Oh, sure. I'm glad they didn't ask us back. But anyway, every shot, drive, whatever you call it in golf, every drive that both Josh and I had all day long looked like a dribbler to shortstop. You see what I'm saying?
They're bad, yeah.
Just looked like a slow roller.
Burner.
Yeah, I even struck out once, Randy. I had three strikes on one.
We neither
called out on strikes.
Did Sickman call you out?
Oh, yeah. And Sickman, if I remember, was a good golfer, if I remember right.
Sure he is.
Yeah, neither of us know how to golf. We've got much better things to do with our lives. So all of our shots were poor. But then here comes these babes. And yes, you waited forever hoping that they would find something else to do.
Oh, man, I was sweating and just praying they'd drive away.
They stopped and waited for your shot, and I tell you what, you nailed it. I mean, yeah, it would make sense. It all makes sense that maybe the MILF man was trying a little harder. We all played youth sports. We all tried a little harder to stand out when there were, as Josh would say, fly honeys in the stands. I mean, hell, I had a coach even comment on it once to me. Back in junior high, playing hockey, I noticed a couple of hot checks in the stands. And my first shift of the game, I jumped over the boards like I was on crack rocks. And I completely played out of position because I was trying to dump the most dramatic body checks in hockey history on anything that moved to get these two gals to know that not only was I one of the coolest guys in school, that I was also a top-notch hockey prospect.
Oh, yeah. Tough guy, too. Bad boy.
I remember I left my feet more than once to put a check, to put a guy into the boards. And when I got back to the bench, our coach just looked at me and said, "What the F was that?" and I said, "What do you mean?" Even though I knew exactly what he meant. And he said, "You look like an idiot out there." I was completely out of control, but it's because of the babes. Back to the MILF man now. Wilson looked good. Some say he actually became the first quarterback to ever outplay Patrick Mahomes. And fans think it's because he knew that Taylor Swift, and therefore millions of other women would be watching. Makes sense to me. One NFL fan tweeted, "Zach Wilson heard like 100 million hoes are going to be watching and decided to be the man, and that's awesome." The meme that I saw, if that's what I should be calling it, a meme.
Yep.
The one that I saw, Brad Ryder, that cracked me up. So there's a picture of this stupid football game from Sunday night, and there's Taylor Swift. And she's having the time of her life. She's smiling ear to ear, watching whatever's happening on the field. And I don't believe this was is photoshopped, the word.
Yeah.
But there's Patrick Mahomes' wife, Brittany, sitting there with an unhappy look on her face. And it says here, the verbiage here connected to the meme says, "Nobody hates the amount of attention Taylor Swift is getting as much as Brittany Mahomes."
There was a whole article written on that.
Does she look miserable?
Oh, yeah. Me and Wapple were just talking about that meme yesterday.
There's some
it's
truth
so
to
good.
that, probably.
Mm-hmm.
I saw another meme where there's a photo of Karen on the left, and on the right it's Taylor Swift. And it says here, one of these two is someone who likes to be an attention-seeking diva who isn't even playing football, but NBC keeps showing them. The other is Taylor Swift.
I also like the one that showed, it was photoshopped, but it showed the MILF man, Zach Wilson, standing next to, what's Kelsey's mom's name? It doesn't matter. Kelsey's,
Donna
Donna Kelsey, and says, it's TMZ headline report, Zach Wilson leaves the stadium with Donna Kelsey.
That was
good. He loves the moms. So the Oregon State University Beavers football club played last weekend against Utah, don't you know? Did you folks see the hand signals Oregon State's coach used on the sideline to tell his players he'd like for them to milk the clock?
Yeah, it was a little different. You can see this on 93x.com.
Check that out on our website. It's downright lewd.
I mean, it works, right?
He was mimicking a lady squeezing her, how do I call them, nipples.
That is a very unique play call that he just sent in there. I think he may have been saying, okay, milk the clock. You got to milk it. Yeah, that's what that is. Normally you'd get a stool, sit on it, and do that. Yeah. But I'm all for that.
For those I offended with that, I apologize. I won't be using that signal again.
Milk was a bad choice. As you heard, he apologized. Oh, because, there were people who were wildly offended. And now, of course, because of stupid social media, folks get the chance to constantly complain about anything that doesn't fall into line with their own personal little sensibilities. He was kind of playing with his nipples a little bit.
Yeah, he sure was.
To make sure his players knew that their top priority was to milk the clock. I hadn't seen that one before from a football coach. Imagine Bud Grant doing that back in 1974 or something.
As Nick was telling that, he was doing it to himself, and that really helped me get a good visual.
You understood?
Yeah.
I saw you licking your fingers. That was
gross.
That disturbed me.
So there you go with that. People here in our listening audience have been texting in back to the Chris Collinsworth thing about how he gave a little too much credit, I guess, to Zach Wilson, and so he sucks and everything. Quite a few of our listeners are accusing Chris Collinsworth of slobbering on knobs.
Patrick Mahomes, certainly he does that a lot. Aaron Rodgers.
Knob
he used
slobbering.
To play football. Yeah.
He used to play football.
I kind of understand the criticisms of Collinsworth.
He does get a little over the top.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah. He just kind of seems swarmy. Is that the word?
Yeah.
I hear you.
It's almost like he really wants the players to like him.
Yeah, maybe that's the case.
Well, let's go this way now. Changing gears quite dramatically, but what the hell? Shaquille O'Neal. He says he's the best athlete rapper ever. But Damian Lillard, he says, is really nice too. Damian Lillard's in the news here. He just got traded from Portland to Milwaukee.
Yep.
Shaq says he's been the man when it comes to athlete rappers since the 90s.
It's all competition for me. So when I hear other people that say, oh, I'm a better athlete rapper than Shaq, I got to step up. Nothing personal. I just had to let these people know who paved the way. And so, for me, it's all fun because, the reason why I retired from rap, because no disrespect to the rappers, there wasn't enough money in that game for me. And I love rap and I will always continue to do it. But say they're better than the Diesel, that means you want to compete. So I just like competing. So I put stuff out, they put stuff out, and we'll let the people decide who the number one is. I know who the number one is.
Fair enough.
It's not all that big of an accomplishment to be the best athlete rapper, by the way. Because there are some rough ones out there.
That's true.
Shaq, he complimented Antonio Brown on his rapping. He thought he was a solid athlete rapper.
We'd heard a little bit of that. It sounded like garbage to me.
Yeah, hot garbage.
Shaq's made 4 rap albums. I remember we talked about this not that long ago. Fooshnickens. I swear to God, that was the name of the act he was involved with early in his basketball career. He rapped with a group of fellas that called themselves Fooshnickens. Athlete rappers, though, I always come back to Macho Man Randy Savage.
How could you not?
Or, of course, the acclaimed.
Oh, yeah.
Max Caster. Mm-hmm. I remember when Max Caster said to Hangman Adam Page, he was rapping. That's what if you don't know the acclaimed, everyone loves the acclaimed. Scissor me, daddy ass.
The acclaimed have arrived.
That's right. Max Caster comes out and he always does a derogatory rap against whoever that he's about to wrestle, or he and his tag team partner Anthony Bowens are about to wrestle. Remember this one, Wapple, where Max Caster was about to wrestle Hangman Adam Page, and he said, "You're a one-trick pony. Treat me like a breathalyzer. Go ahead and then Anthony Bowens interrupted and said, "You can't say that on TNT."
Oh, here we go.
What?
My guy's firing it up again.
Oh, yeah.
Yay, I love him.
The leaf blower friend?
Yeah, I can hear him.
What are they doing back twice in 3 days?
How many trees you got over there?
Lots.
Okay, well,
there he is.
should we test him again?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, how many revs do we want?
Well, wait, I don't know. He just started up.
Tell us when he gets close to your window.
Okay. Well, you'll be able to hear when he gets close to my window.
Yes, we will. And it's become a fun bit. Now, maybe some of you folks know about this. I know nothing about who does what on YouTube. The Charlotte Hornets announced a new partnership with Feastables, which is a food brand founded isn't the word, a food brand founded by a popular YouTuber that goes by the name of Mr. Beast.
Yeah, I'm very familiar with Mr. Beast.
Okay, so this is the first partnership between an influencer and an NBA team. So his logo will be on their gym shorts and whatnot, on their jerseys when they fire up the regular season, is what I understand about this. What do I need to know about Mr. Beast, Josh?
So my son watches, or used to watch, a lot of his videos. He's obviously incredibly popular, very wealthy. He gives away big chunks of money, cars, stuff like that through some of his videos. Has some game shows he puts on, challenges.
And he's a cook?
No, he's just a YouTuber, like a host. He hosts it.
Okay.
Yeah, all of his money comes from his YouTube channel, so.
Well, what do you know about Feastables? This is a brand of food. Don't even bother.
Because I knew that he had like a brand of chocolate. Is that what it is?
I think it's like a burger place or something like that.
I don't understand a word of this. But
yeah, I heard that the burger thing didn't go well.
I don't understand
I don't know.
what people are doing anymore, and a lot of different levels, especially this influencer thing. I don't get it. I don't get how they make money. I don't. They say here he's the most subscribed individual on YouTube. He has his own line of chocolate bars called Mr. Beast Bars.
He's got one called D's Nuts.
Yeah, I see that. He says, get some of D's nuts. No.
No? I want a case.
I would totally buy it.
He has 189 million subscribers.
Yeah, he's huge.
He's only 25. That's crazy.
He has a chocolate bar called D's Nuts.
Yeah.
Gosh, I should have been in YouTube more when I was a kid.
Does he also have one called Let's Go?
Probably, yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Epic. Hot Mess.
These nuts!
Oh! All right. Hey, a group of folks in Missouri, 60 people, played basketball for 100 hours and 1 minute to break a Guinness World Record. They earned the record for the longest marathon playing basketball. That's how they say it. It's kind of awkward, but that's, I guess, the official title. They took the record from a Canadian group of
Wasn't
folks.
it baseball?
What?
Sorry, I thought it was baseball.
Oh, I thought it was basketball.
Oh.
Well, maybe someone has to look that up. What was that? Back when I was a young kid, there was a popular song that went, "We're playing basketball." Anyone recall that one?
Yeah, from the Space Jam soundtrack.
What?
From the Space Jam soundtrack.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Seemed like it was longer ago than that.
Yeah, it was baseball.
They played baseball. Mm-hmm. I don't know what the hell I'm doing around here. They played baseball for 100 hours and 1 minute.
Slow and steady wins the race. That's the only way you get to the end. I mean, but the big thing is raising the money that we were after.
When we broke the record, just that feeling, everybody was out here, and it was just such a great community moment. And I think, then having that plaque up there on the press box here, people are going to see that and say, they really did that.
There's our guy.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Now, hang on, everyone.
What I don't understand is it's windy
There
out.
goes
Why
Brad.
is he doing this when it's windy out?
Well, this is his time to shine.
Yeah.
Guys got to get paid. Okay, this worked a few days ago. Let's try it again. Mr. Leaf Blower Man hanging around Brad Ryder's office. If you can hear us, give us 3 pumps on the leaf blower.
I don't think he's listening today.
I don't think he is.
Is it the same guy?
No. This is one long pump. Just hang on a second.
Honestly, it looks like a different guy than the other day.
Shoot.
Your guy
Bring
from a
back
couple.
the old guy.
Yeah.
I bet that other leaf blower guy's listening. He's like, I raised my
He comes sprinting around the
You
corner.
got to isolate this noise and use it as the wrong answer in dad fights on Friday.
Oh, boy. There you go. Well, world record baseball playing. I thought it was basketball. But the pitching on these rosters sucked. I crumpled this up. They played 100 hours of baseball. I don't know. Someone do the arithmetic here. 100 hours of baseball. The final score was 468 to 307.
That'll hurt the ERA a little bit.
Possible to score that?
It's exhausting.
I'll have to look it up in the Guinness record books. Randy and Brett. Yes? Was someone saying something?
I was just to say, who pitched?
Yeah, right. I don't know.
A little bit of everybody.
A little bit of everybody.
I guess.
Yeah. You switched off every few innings. We got to get going, Randy and Brad. Thank you very much.
All right.
We'll talk to you tomorrow, Randy, and then Brad, you can check in Friday for dad fights.
The 93X Half-Ass Morning Show.
Our experienced and certified technicians at Standard Heating have been trusted to keep our fellow Minnesotans comfortable and confident for over 90 years. We're ready to do the same for you, providing comfort you deserve since 1930.
And now is a great time to join their team. Standard Heating and Air Conditioning is currently hiring experienced and entry-level HVAC technicians, dedicated to improving the work-life balance of their employees by providing benefits that include parental leave and 401k match. Apply today at standardheating.com.
Susie Schuster and Amy Trask present offbeat conversations and expert sports commentary as they ask, what the football?
When my family found out how long it took me to figure out why Charles Woodson named his wine Intercept, they said, there's a reason that you had trouble in school.
You know, not everyone knows, when they think of a bottle of Intercept, they don't know that I play football.
Well, what I've learned is a smooth defensive back can make smooth wine.
That's what it's all about.
What the Football with Susie Schuster and Amy Trask. The podcast is available Tuesdays, wherever you listen.
They want to glorify the fact that they're criminals. It's dumb. These guys are dumb. They deserve to be tossed under the jail just for being dumb.
The 93X Half-Ass Morning Show.
Absolutely, it is 8:25, and we welcome in our old friend Ryan Pacyga. Ryan is a veteran criminal defense attorney here in town. If you have a question for Ryan, remember, he's not a state trooper.
He is not, no.
There is always some confusion. There's always some confusion when Ryan comes on. He's an attorney. You can text us, 651-989-9393. Ryan, why don't you tell folks some of the things you deal with so they get a better idea of what kind of help you can give them?
Well, crimes all the way from your DWIs or domestics or disorderly conducts. Those are sort of the less serious crimes, if you will. Those are misdemeanors on up to the most serious stuff, the homicides and federal crimes and serious assaults. And
you've dealt with a little bit of everything.
A little bit of everything.
Man.
Yeah.
For many, many years now.
Over 20 now.
Unbelievable.
That's crazy.
Yeah, time flies.
Still look like a young man. It's great to see you.
I appreciate that. Yeah, you guys too.
We do. That didn't seem genuine at all. NASCAR Dad Jesus has a DWI question for you.
No.
And I know you've discussed this before, but it's probably a good reminder.
Sure.
Legally, he says, can I deny a DWI test until speaking with a lawyer, mainly the one you're required to take, or lose your driver's license for a year? So that's the one back at the station.
Yes, correct. So quick rundown on that, right? The stuff that they ask you to do on the side of the road, you are not obligated to do it all. None of the field sobriety tests, nor the handheld breath test called a PBT, preliminary breath test, okay? That test isn't accurate enough to be used in court, so that's just a tool for officers to get a better idea of whether you're at 0.08 or more so that they can arrest you and then bring you to the station for the real test. When they bring you there, the officer
Which
gets
you said in the past they will do, right? If you refuse it?
Yeah,
that's an automatic?
It is. Sometimes you can challenge that they didn't have a right to do that later in the case, but just generally speaking, if you refuse that roadside breath test, they're going to arrest you and try to get you to take the real test at the station.
Right.
The officer gets to elect which test they want to give you. So some people get confused when they get to the station and they say, wait a minute, I don't want to do a breath test machine. I already did the one on the side of the road if they did, or I don't trust how accurate they are. I'll do a blood or urine. But the officer can say, no, I'm only offering you a breath test, which kind of stinks. Here in Minnesota, that's the law. But if they offer you a breath test, they got to read you this thing called a Minnesota Implied Consent Advisory. And what it tells you is that Minnesota law requires you to take a test. Refusal to take a test is a crime. Before making that decision, you consult with an attorney. So they do have to give you the right to call a lawyer. They don't necessarily have to give you your cell phone to look up a number, but usually they will. A lot of times they'll give you a phone book or a directory of lawyers that do DWIs. You can't stall that very long. You can't call your wife and talk to her and then him and haw about it. And I mean, you got to be trying to get a hold of a lawyer for a reasonable amount of time.
Yeah.
And then once you're on the phone with that lawyer, we can advise you about that and we can talk to you for a reasonable amount of time. The law does not define what reasonable means. So sometimes there's fights about that. An officer says, well, I've given you the phone for 3 minutes. You haven't called anybody. I'm calling, you got to make your decision now. There's some arguments about that, but you got to make a good faith effort to get a hold of a lawyer and get the advice.
All right. Out of curiosity, is there ever a time where you might advise a client who's making that phone call, don't take the test?
Rarely. So they try to make refusing a test worse. So they if you refuse the breath test, they'll count that as a double test limit, basically, in most situations. So let's say you're at a 0.08 to a 0.15. Not that you know when you're sitting at the police station. I mean, sometimes you really know you're tanked.
Yeah.
Or we can tell, like somebody just slurring all over the place. We have to keep telling them what we're saying to them because they keep forgetting.
Yeah, they got,
all right, they're way up there. They're
wet
probably
spot
over
in the front of the
1.6.
pants, kind of a thing.
All that sort of stuff,
Yeah.
right? But if you're at an 0.8 to 1.5, you're better off taking the breath test in most situations because that's not an aggravated DWI. Once you test at a 0.16, think of that as almost double the legal limit or more, that's a more serious DWI. And if you refuse, they basically treat it like you're a 0.16 or more because otherwise you'd always be better off refusing. Right?
Right.
So that's why they do it that way. There are some defenses to a refusal, but there's usually more defenses if you take the test and some things we can do, looking at the machine itself and that sort of stuff.
Now, you mentioned you've been doing it for 2 decades. Can you think of the highest BAC a client has ever had?
Yeah. I've had a client over a 4.0.
Oh, no, that makes me sick even thinking about it.
It's really bad. I mean, they ended up going into DTs, right? They had to be hospitalized because they were an everyday drinker that they were hospitalized for like 2 months. They just couldn't be without alcohol or they were going to die.
Isn't that something?
That's awful.
Yeah.
I mean, everyone has a lapse of judgment now and again. But whenever we have Ryan in here, and if ever we get to talking about DWIs, which is relatively often, it's a big issue, and a lot of our listeners are curious about it. It's just amazing how much trouble it can bring into your effing life. Mm-hmm. And I just, like I said, everyone has a lapse. The expense, some of the I don't even know how you keep all of that information straight in your head. I mean, for the regular person, that's so complicated, and there's so much pressure to decide, how do I go about. I guess where I'm going with this is, man, I mean, I don't know why there are people out there that still mess with this stuff.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Well, sometimes it's a conscious decision, right? People think I've only had a couple, I'm good to go. I mean, the first thing alcohol does is impair your judgment.
Yeah, it does.
And so, I remember when I was a younger guy, I'd have plans. I mean, I'm going to be someone's sober cab, or I'm going to have one and then I'll be whatever. And next thing you know, you've had a couple more than you thought about it, right?
Yeah.
And you're thinking I'm okay to drive or whatever like that, and that can happen. Most people that get a DW aren't out there trying to go get one or planning on it. And some people start driving, and then I've had clients pull over. They get a mile down the road, and it kind of hits them. They're feeling different than when they left the bar.
Sure.
And now they're in a situation, right? And they pull over, and they're like, I'm not right. They start to make a call for someone else to pick them up. Officer rolls by, sees them on the shoulder. What are you doing? They can get a DWI for that. Oof. You can go get a DWI. You got to know about this. You can go out and sit in the parking lot and not plan to be driving anywhere. You don't even have your keys in the ignition. Mm-hmm. You're sitting in your driver's seat of your car. Maybe it's winter and you don't, not even with the engine running.
Right.
You can get a DWI for that, for being in physical control. I've won some cases about that, but the law's generally against you on that.
It's a touchy deal, man.
Yeah.
From top to bottom.
And I get exactly what they're trying to do, right? Yeah, keep people off the roads that shouldn't be on it. But that seems like reason should step in and say, hey, this person's trying to sleep it off in their vehicle.
Right.
And I think you've mentioned in the past, sometimes in the winter it's worse because someone will have their car running because they're freezing.
Right.
And then that looks worse for them.
And they're trying to do the right thing. They're waiting for a ride. Sometimes they're waiting for an Uber. Sometimes they've called for a ride. Sometimes they're just staying warm and waiting until they feel okay to drive. But
Can you maybe talk about some of the marijuana laws?
New Supreme Court in Minnesota, a case came out. Another defense lawyer who did a great job on it, and some other advocacy centers for criminal rights came out, and they briefed this at the Minnesota Supreme Court. And now the law has changed here, where the odor of marijuana alone is no longer probable cause for an officer to search a vehicle.
What?
Yeah.
No way.
Well, if they have other things in conjunction with that, they can still search a vehicle, right? So if they see shake, if they see paraphernalia, stick stem seeds, as Snoop would say, right? Or if they take a quick look in Ashley's car, right? I mean, they got stuff everywhere right there. It's super easy, right?
So, but no longer can it just solely be the smell.
No, exactly.
Okay.
Not anymore. Okay, and that can make some sense because an officer may or may not know if that's marijuana actually in the vehicle versus, you ever get in an elevator with someone and then you just smell the marijuana. I mean, you smell it everywhere nowadays, right? It's on their jackets, it's on their sweaters. It doesn't mean that they have marijuana on them. They may have been smoking it a while ago. They may have been around someone else that was smoking it.
Right.
And so that can make some sense. But again, if an officer sees something else in with it, now they can use the odor along with some other things to justify probable cause to search a vehicle. But
I know we're not wide open yet when it comes to pot smoking around here yet, but some people are acting as if we are.
Totally.
Have you seen an uptick in how do they define driving under the influence of marijuana?
Yeah. Well,
has there been an uptick in that already?
Not yet, but it'll be coming.
Your passengers can't be drinking in the vehicle, right?
Right.
Could your passenger have a gummy?
Yeah.
So that's all right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Your passenger could be chewing on a gummy. Yeah.
What about passing around a big fat sumbitch?
Yeah, not if you're driving. I mean, that wouldn't be a good idea.
But the passengers, can they be doing a little puff, puff, give?
Yeah, I think so.
Really?
Interesting. That's going to be hard to deal with.
Yeah.
What do you mean hard to deal with?
Hard for the legal system to figure out, because how can you? I mean, somebody could just be like, "No, I'm not hitting it. I'm not hitting that joint."
I'd have to double check. I don't want to hold me true to that because I'd have to double check if you can have an open container essentially and a blunt, right, like rolling around in a vehicle if you're not the driver.
Could I just have one in my car so I look cool in front of my friends? I don't smoke weed.
Yeah.
But just for some cred?
Yeah. Before people hold me to that, but let me just backtrack on that and make sure that I can get you the right answer about whether passengers can be, openly smoking it while a vehicle's rolling down the road.
This stuff
it's tricky, right? I mean, because then you're not smoking if you get the gummy. Somebody else says, well, what about THC seltzers? I mean, you can't have an open beer in there.
Right, right.
This stuff seems to change every day as well.
Josh, could we get if they got a list of questions surrounding that stuff? We could jot something down for later if you don't mind, or whatever, and then
absolutely.
I can follow up the next time I'm on, or I can get you the information and you can let people know what I found out for them, because I want to give people good information about that stuff.
Well, you always seem to do just that, Ryan Pacyga.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Well, often when we have Ryan in studio, a lot of people ask questions along the lines of, "Hey, if I get busted in Wisconsin, I'm a Minnesotan. If I get busted in Wisconsin for this, how does it come back to haunt me? My driver's license, all kinds of different things." And this could be really valuable information for the folks who are going to join us in Wisconsin in a couple weeks. We're going to Turtle Lake Casino out in Turtle Lake. So if you can, just give us a rough idea. How do some of the F-ups that a Minnesotan might commit in Wisconsin, how does it come back to bite him in the ass here in Minnesota? How does that cross borders, things like that?
Yeah, so back in the day, when you got a driver's license in whatever state, the different DMVs in different states didn't communicate very well, right? Well, everything's computerized nowadays and very simple. So, for example, let's say you've got a Wisconsin driver's license for you people over in Hudson or Prescott or wherever you're at listening to the show here. And you come into Minnesota and you get a DWI, all right? And you've only got a Wisconsin license. Minnesota can suspend your right to drive on Minnesota roads even if Wisconsin doesn't do something to your driver's license in Wisconsin. So Minnesota can keep you off of its own roads. And then you say, wait a minute, though, I've got a valid Wisconsin license. Wisconsin didn't do anything to me about this. Until you're clear again to drive on Minnesota roads by the Minnesota DMV, you can get busted for, driving without a license here in Minnesota, which is a crime. Okay? So similarly, if you're a Minnesota person and you go get a DWI in Wisconsin, and I think in Wisconsin, if I remember right, the first time DWI is not a driver's license penalty over there, I believe, unless they've changed their law recently. Okay? Now let's pretend for a minute that Wisconsin doesn't do anything to a Wisconsin license over in Wisconsin about it. What Wisconsin will do, however, is they will notify Minnesota's DMV about your Wisconsin, what they call an OWI in Wisconsin, operating while impaired. Same thing as a DWI.
Right.
They'll notify Minnesota's DMV about it, and then Minnesota's DMV can penalize you if Minnesota's DMV wants to as well.
There you go.
So those DMVs are a lot better about communicating with each other than they used to be.
Friggin' internet.
Yeah, exactly.
Ruins everything.
Exactly.
Okay, that's great, yeah.
Suburban Cop Jesus has checked in on marijuana in a vehicle. He says you cannot have passengers actively smoking inside the passenger compartment of said vehicle.
Okay.
All right. So the passenger compartment. So throw them in the trunk.
You know, I don't know if
Thank
you've
you,
heard,
Suburban Cop.
Yeah, I don't know if you've heard this nickname before, Ryan Pacyga, but after you were having your conversation there about the new marijuana laws, a listener by the name of Bisexual Lab Tech Jesus wants to call you Ryan Pacyga.
Oh, yeah, I've heard that one a lot.
So you had mentioned that no longer just the odor of marijuana, that's not probable cause. Someone wants to know, did that change? What about alcohol? Is that still probable cause?
Yeah, no, they've never had probable cause to search a vehicle just because they smell the odor of alcohol.
They haven't?
No,
Okay.
they can't do that. However, that's one of the things that they factor into about whether they can get you out of the car and test you for a DWI on the side of the road. You know, what's called expanding the scope of the stop. So the way the law works here is, let's say an officer sees you speeding and they pull you over. What the law says is, now we're going back to a DWI scenario, okay, is that the officer can only do with you at the side of the road what is strictly tied to the reason for pulling you over. So they pull you over for speeding, ask for your license and insurance, walk back to their squad car, run your license to make sure you don't have any active warrants for your arrest or things like that you've got a valid license, that the car isn't stolen. Return, write your ticket, and send you on your way. If they want to keep you around any longer than that or do any more with you than just that, they've got to have independent and additional facts that would warrant what's called expanding the scope of the stop, meaning here's the scope, in other words, what I'm here for. If I want to go beyond what I'm initially here for, I got to have new facts that justify me keeping you around longer and doing more to you than I would be able to do to just write a speeding ticket. So they pull you over for speeding. Now they walk up. Your eyes are allegedly bloodshot and watery. You've got some slurred speech. They smell alcohol. They ask where you're coming from, and you said Joe's Bar right down the road. You know, have you had a couple? Yeah, I've had two, because that's how many everybody's had forever. It's always two. I can't, you know. I think they mean TOO sometimes, as in too many. But now the officer has enough what's called reasonable articulable suspicion to believe that someone's perhaps impaired while they're driving, and not just that they've consumed alcohol. This is where we win some. Some officers smell the odor of alcohol and they say, well, I got a right to get you out and field sobriety test you. No, they don't. Consuming alcohol is not illegal before driving. And there's an old case that said the odor of alcohol is no more a sign for being impaired than the odor of food is for gluttony. Makes sense, right?
There you go, yeah.
But if they got these other things to believe you're actually impaired as opposed to you've just consumed alcohol, now they can get you out and field sobriety test you and examine a little closer about whether you're really a DWI or not.
It's a hell of an operation.
Yeah, wouldn't it be a lot easier just not to drink and drive?
Well, totally. Of course it would be, but, you know, that's, you know, we're one of the leading states in terms of issuing DWIs out there.
Wow. Yeah, it is what it is.
1 in 8 Minnesotans has one.
Green Bay, sorry, just real quick to follow up here. Green Bay Attorney Jesus said, you're correct, Ryan. In Wisconsin, first offense is a civil infraction. You do have driver's license implications, though, but it's not a crime.
Well, thank you. I think that's the first time I've heard anything nice out of someone from Green Bay.
Yes, they complimented your knowledge.
We're talking with criminal defense attorney Ryan Pacyga here on the Half-Assed Morning Show, fielding your questions, 651-989-9393. Now, not that we have to change gears completely. We can go back to talking D-dubs and joint sticks and everything before we're all said and done. But this is a really interesting text that just came into me saying, my roommate broke into my room and went through my things. Wasn't caught stealing anything, but all of this was caught on camera. I called the police. I was told there was nothing they could do because he didn't steal anything on camera. Is it true he couldn't be charged for, say, breaking and entering into my room or anything? It just seems wrong.
Yeah, it does seem wrong. You could you could think about maybe disorderly conduct. That'd be a stretch, honestly. I mean, burglary generally is a crime, which means that if you enter somewhere without the owner's permission to an area that they can restrict people from being in with the intent to commit a crime, then they can get you for a burglary, right? So a lot of times people think that burglary is always stealing. It isn't. But going back to this situation, had they stolen something out of this roommate's room, then they could be charged for burglary.
Okay.
Because that's what the intent to steal. This person's defense would be, okay, I went in there without permission, but I was just curious. I'm looking around. Name the crime that I'm intending to commit here.
Mm-hmm.
You got a trespass, but trespass is different. So I just think it's a little piddly, and officers probably don't. I mean, I get how offensive it is, but I can see why officers don't want to do much about that.
Yeah, I get it. And I love that you use the word piddly.
Yeah.
I haven't heard that one in a while. I mean, I wonder if this was a situation, Josh, Ryan Pacyga, everybody, where these two people didn't know each other before they moved in with each other.
Yeah, I wonder.
That scenario's always frightened the hell out of me.
Yeah, same here. Where you just go online and find somebody, yeah.
I mean, I know a dude who, this was a strangers who ended up living together type of a situation. Someone needed a place to stay, and they moved in with a stranger. Yeah, go ahead, I'll rent the room to you. And in one of the individuals involved, there was a lot of really loud noises coming from their room. And like hammers, pounding, and just odd stuff. They didn't know each other at all. Somehow, some way, I think maybe the guy got the cops involved maybe because he owned the property, I think is how this worked. He got the cops involved. Look, I want to find out what's going on in this room that I rented to this stranger. And he got the cops involved, and they broke open, they went into the guy's room, and it smelled like hell, and they busted open the closet doors, and the guy had been beating rabbits and squirrels to death with a claw hammer.
No.
And had pulled their guts out and things like that.
Woof.
That's so
I know.
So
I've always been so afraid of that friggin' scenario of moving in with someone. Here's
that
the deal.
is piddly. Did I use that in the right context? Guitar Building Jesus said the law in Wisconsin is actually once you get your first DUI, that's when you're issued your driver's license and you get a small award, making you an official Wisconsinite.
They want to glorify the fact that they're criminals. It's dumb. These guys are dumb. They deserve to be tossed under the jail just for being dumb.
The 93X Half-Ass Morning Show.
We are live here with local criminal defense attorney Ryan Pacyga. We got a few more minutes for our listeners to ask Ryan for his advice. Ryan deals with a lot of DWI cases, and you were joking around earlier, Ryan, about how almost everybody who gets pulled over and is asked by the police, how many drinks have you had, they almost all say 2.
Yep.
Got a text from a listener that says, that's exactly accurate. 2 beers, the first and the last. The ones in the middle don't count. That's not a way to go. Not a way to go.
Got a question about a Facebook Marketplace purchase.
Yeah.
Okay. This is something. This gentleman bought a trailer from Facebook Marketplace. Turns out it was stolen. He was thrown in jail for 3 days.
Mm-hmm.
The trailer was returned to the owner before he was released. When he was released without any charges, all of his equipment for running his business was inside the trailer. It was apparently never inventoried by the police. And so he said, they've claimed no responsibility of my loss. I needed to file a civil suit against the owner to get my equipment back, but this guy, for whatever reason, claimed he threw all his stuff in the dump, which he doesn't believe because they were nice tools.
Wow.
So is there...
Well, he'd still be liable for throwing it in the dump.
Oh, really? So
I would think so.
The guy who owned the trailer?
Yeah. I mean...
And who would do it? Nobody would do that.
There's a few mistakes there, right? So generally speaking, law enforcement, they have to be inventorying this stuff. So they didn't do their job there if that's how that went down. But if this person who owned the trailer just admitted to throwing everything in the dump, I would think they'd be liable for doing that because a reasonable person would check back with the police who returned it to him and say, well, this stuff wasn't mine. What should I do with it? Before just tossing it away.
Yeah,
right?
It seems a little tough to believe.
Yeah. So what he was going to be potentially charged with, by the way, is called receiving stolen property. And the law says that you don't have to just know that it's stolen, but if you should have known, basically, is what the law says.
That's tough. So
it
how
is
are you
tough.
supposed to know?
Well, that's a great situation. I've got a case coming up in a county. I won't talk much about it because it might be going to trial, but it involves baseball cards and these things don't have serial numbers on them, right? And so even one of the cops was asking my client, how would you know if they were stolen or not? But anyway, it's an interesting situation. Sometimes you don't know if something's stolen, and they'll still come after you once in a while. Other times, of course, people know, right? Yeah, that's, you're never going to get that back, and you're not going to be able to sue the police department over it. A lot of times people think, I want to sue for that now. You don't really have anything there, unfortunately.
I mean, if they did inventory it, that's one thing, but it's not the cops. They don't know, right, if you did.
Right.
Doing what they're supposed to do.
Got a little bit of a dark, serious question. Well, I don't know how serious I should take this question, but I'm going to go ahead anyway. Can you ask Ryan, if some armed goon decides he's going to try and carjack me, what's going to happen if I shoot him first? What kind of trouble am I going to be in?
Yeah, I mean...
as they say it here, for doing society a favor is how they say it. That's not how I would, but anyway.
Yeah, might want to sandpaper that part of the testimony before trial, that's called, right? I mean, but this is this is a legit question right now, isn't it?
Well, I mean, carjackings are off the charts.
They really are,
yeah,
including here.
Yeah.
And so that's a situation where... you've got a duty to retreat if possible. Under Minnesota law, unless you're in your home, you've got a duty to retreat if possible, and you've also got a duty to only use reasonable force, all right? But if you know that someone's armed and they are trying to carjack you, if they're just walking past your car and you see they've got a pistol holstered in their waistband, you can't just shoot them, right? Because
Thank God.
you're not receiving some sort of imminent threat of bodily harm at that point in time.
Sure.
So you can't be Wild Westing on this stuff, right? but on the other hand, this situation, the question is, and they're carjacking me. So maybe they've got their hand on their pistol in their waistband and they're threatening you, or maybe they've reached for their pistol, or maybe they're pointing it at you. Yeah, you've got a right to defend yourself reasonably. And if you can't retreat any other way, which most of the time, if someone's getting carjacked, they're seated in the driver's seat, right?
Yeah.
Or they're walking up to their car to get their keys in the ignition and leave somewhere. And you can't always retreat from that. I guess if you're 20 feet away and you can step on the pedal and drive off as fast as you can instead, maybe you'd get charged in that scenario. So you may not get charged, but even if you get charged, a good defense attorney, I think, would enjoy, it's a tragic situation, but would enjoy being able to defend a case like that, because we can say, obviously, there's an imminent threat of bodily harm. They're being actively carjacked with someone who's armed, is what this guy said.
Right.
And then they had no duty to, or they had no ability to retreat. Sometimes it's shoot or be shot, and you can't put the car into drive and try to get out of there because you might have your head blown off in that moment, right? So you've got a legitimate self-defense claim there. And then, of course, it would be up to a jury. Some officers looking at that whole situation, and prosecutors may not charge you at all. But even if you get charged, under that basis of facts that we have right there, and every case is unique, that would be a good defense for self-defense there.
I pray that none of us are ever in a situation like that. I know,
too.
Josh, I would shoot myself right in the Johnson.
Yeah, I would too.
I think.
Yeah.
And I always think it's such a backwards day and age, right? Where I worry about, even if you should be able to defend yourself if somebody's going to carjack you, or you feel this person has a gun, I'm being threatened, right?
Right.
But I worry about the headline. Middle-aged suburban man with a huge hog knocks out 12-year-old.
With a huge hog.
You know what I mean? Like the 12-year-old's got a gun on me, whatever, wants to steal my vehicle.
I understand.
And I punch him as a reaction. He hits his head. He's in a coma.
Right. Yeah, that happens.
I don't have that physical strength to save your text. I know I couldn't do it. But let's just say that does happen.
Oh, no.
And imagine the headline.
Right.
Yeah. But you can't think about that. I mean, it's the headline, right? But the situation is, there's a few things, and officers can be valuable in telling you this stuff as well next time you have one on. But you got to have your head on a swivel nowadays, right? You need to know things like, where am I parking my car? Try to park under a well-lit area, right? Are you in a situation where you're parked where you're going to be really easy to box in? I used to pull in nose first into parking lots, like our parking spaces, right? Mm-hmm. More often than not, I'll back in now. Why? Because I can have my head facing wherever something's going to come from.
Right.
It's easier to get my vehicle out of there if I need to get it. If I see a pack of people walking around, or kids, or whatever they are, that might look like are they trying to conceal their faces, right?
Right.
Are they Are they engaging in any sort of activity that might make me suspicious that, are they out here for good reasons or not right now? You got to have your head on a swivel, and you might not. I had my family at an ice cream place this summer, right? And there's 3 guys riding around on those scooters, right? The electronic ones.
Nice.
And they had hoods pulled all the way over their heads and faces concealed and all that. And I don't know if they were just kids playing around or if they had some ulterior motives. But I told my family, I was like, listen, and our car was off alone in a spot. And I said, we're not going to walk back to the car right now. Let's just walk away and hang out for a little while and wait for them to be gone, just in case, because it isn't worth it. And you might think or it's never going to happen to me or whatever, but why risk it? Don't put yourself in that situation.
Totally makes sense.
You shouldn't have to think that way.
No. Isn't it a damn shame that that's what we've found ourselves involved in, that line of thinking? It's a damn shame. Our grandparents, I'm not trying to sound like get up on a soapbox kind of, well, maybe I do every minute of this show. I don't know. It depends on who you are, how you define me. But our grandparents didn't have to live like this.
Right.
It's a damn shame.
And they're getting sophisticated. They're doing some things like intentionally rear-ending you, right? And then you get out of your car, and then 4 of them pile out of one. Oh, and now they're carjacking you. That's a technique that they're using, for example.
They'd get me with that. If I ever get rear-ended or somebody hits me, I fly out of my car so angry.
I can see you getting a little pissy, Josh, but I totally hear what you're saying, too. I mean, you're defending your car. You're being carjacked by a 12-year-old, and you knock the 12-year-old out. He hits his head. He's in a coma. Imagine the headlines. And you know how there are certain folks in society who are going to completely take the side against you without knowing any of the information.
Right.
Social media is going to lambast you upside down without knowing any of the real information. It's a mess. Yeah. It's a damn mess.
And it seems like, I know they're changing the rules and trying to make it, right? They've
made it
going
more
after
severe.
These guys, right? More severe.
Yeah.
But it seems like we hear stories. It is 12 and 13-year-olds, and what are they going to do?
Right. Well, that's part of what it is. So there are some gangs who are recruiting younger kids to get into these activities, knowing full well that the punishments for the juveniles aren't going to be as severe as if the adult is doing it.
Oh, sure.
And so they're some of these places are putting the kids to work to do this stuff.
It's horrible.
It is terrible.
Horrible. Hopefully, Josh, if this ever happens to you, and you have to slug a 12-year-old who's trying to carjack you, hopefully both of you are fine when it's all said and done, you and the 12-year-old, and the headline can be, Cubby finally wins fist fight.
Well, I'm telling you, I'm just handing over my keys, and I'm going to be, it's humbling. Here you go. Here's my keys. Here's some money for gas. This thing gets crappy gas mileage.
Right. I think there's a Culver's down the road if you're hungry.
Yeah, exactly.
There you go. Well, Ryan, again, always very informational and a lot of fun to have you in studio. We appreciate it.
Yeah. It always goes by too fast, man.
I'm so grateful. It's been, more than 15 years being on this show, right? And I run into people who I'll ask you, now this is 93X? Yeah, and then I'll tell them, and we get to do a picture together. I mean, they're everywhere. Fans of the show are everywhere, and it's so nice to be able to help out and come in and see you guys, and it's been so good for me. So I'm grateful to you guys and all the fans all over there that are listening. Let's keep this thing going.
Oh, yeah. Very kind
nice of you.
Very kind of you to say.
Absolutely. Thank you again, Ryan.
Yep. Brotherhood, everybody.
Brotherhood. Happy 55th to NASCAR Dad Jesus from NASCAR Mama Jesus.
The 93X Half-Ass Morning Show. 93.
The 93X Half-Ass Morning Show podcast is sponsored by Standard Heating and Air Conditioning. New episodes drop each weekday. If your podcast platform has ratings, go ahead and give us 5 stars and maybe give our enemies 1. Thanks, and here's a word from our sponsor.
Standard Heating and Air Conditioning is currently hiring experienced and entry-level HVAC technicians. Apply today at standardheating.com.